What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TDPHINSTALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Yes, we're live here on Monday, just before the noon hour, or it's about noon. I hope everybody's having a great start to the week. Make sure you hit the like button on your way in the building. Let your friends and family members know about the channel as well, which reminds me, let me turn on subscriber mode only. We've been having much better comment sections when you put subscriber only mode. So give me 1 second. Let me adjust that. 1 minute. All right, there we have it. Subscriber mode only is on. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to TDPHINSTALK. TD, you got a haircut? Yeah, I cut it. You know, I've been cutting my own hair like for this year, I'll say. I've been cutting my own hair this year. Sometimes end up better than others, so this is a decent one. I give this one about a 6 out of 10. If you go look at my last two cuts, I was like an 8, 9 out of 10. Your boy was cold. I was about to start my own little business, man. But yeah, I've been cutting my own hair this year. So I figure, hey, if I could do this decent of a job, why not just keep doing it? So there you have it. You got a little something right there. So we'll see. I guess only on special occasions I'll go get a haircut or something by a professional, but I am not a professional. So sometimes I'll look smooth. Sometimes y'all be like, who cut your hair? Oh, you need to fire them. Yeah, that was me. I ain't perfect, and nobody is, all right? But anywho, man, let's get to it, ladies and gentlemen. EM Baller said overreacting to an offense installation. Wait for camp. EM Baller, no one's overreacting. You're underreacting. At the end of the day, some people don't understand that there's levels to things. Some people don't understand that certain people should be in certain places. And I don't know how to put this, but I guess some people have to realize, right? Everybody on the field in the NFL are professionals. They're the best at what they do. They are top-notch players. And at the end of the day, they have talent. And let me ask you this. If Tom Brady came into the NFL playing like Pat White, but he was drafted number 1 overall, the very first training camp, he looked like Pat White. Will we be overreacting? I'm just curious. Would we be overreacting? What's that defensive end that we had, y'all, that was just so bad? What's his name again? What's that defensive end we had that was just so bad that we were first round pick that we had like a couple years back? Oh my gosh, what's his name again? There's certain people I make it a point to make sure I forget their name. No, he was bad. He was bad in a bad way, not bad in a good way. Deion Jordan. Okay, Deion Jordan. Oh my God. So you mean to tell me if you draft a defensive end, number 1 overall, and he comes out the gate playing like Deion Jordan in the first camp, you're overreacting? No, you're not. Does that mean he can't turn it up and end up being Khalil Mack or Cam Wake or Jason Taylor one day? No, it doesn't mean that. But you're not overreacting. You are what you are, and at a certain point in the NFL, you should be at a certain level. And this is what people need to understand. So with Mike McDaniel being an offensive guru, bringing this offensive system together for the first time, and we have OTAs, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, from day 1 hitting the ground, this unit should at least be a 5. Which is not good. That's below average to me. Like 6 is average, even though 5 is technically average. But like you should at least be a 5 because you're not expecting everything to be pretty and this and that. But if you're coming out the gate starting out a 2, you're not overreacting. People need to understand that. Because this is the same thing they said last year when there were some concerns coming out of camp. Oh my gosh, it's camp. Stop overreacting. Then when the end result is trash, who was overreacting? Why do people always throw that stuff out there? What are you defending? Please tell me, what is it that you're defending? What is it that you don't want to be the revelation? What is it that has people on the offensive? It'll be better off if you said, what are they struggling with? What are they struggling with? And then I'll determine, well, that could be fixed pretty quick and this and that, whether it's an overreaction. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the things that they're struggling with. There was an article that came out, but it was also a live recording, which we're going to play it from the Joe Rose Show with Mike Westoff, who was a previous NFL coach, who was preview. He went to practice on the 2nd. He was in attendance at practice on the 2nd. And he had some words of his thoughts on practice. But here's what's interesting to me. I already told y'all what the deal was. Now, I wasn't very descriptive to y'all, which shows y'all sometimes I can make things a whole lot worse, but I kind of hold back just for the sake of not killing my own team. What did I tell y'all last week about that practice where Tua threw 2 bombs? Y'all remember when we went live and I told y'all in that practice, good job, Tua. It's great to hear it. I'm excited about it. This is what you want to hear. But I have to put things into context because somebody who's at practice with the media communicates with me after practice, and they tell me what the real deal is, what they saw. And I tried to lighten the blow. I came out, I congratulated Tua on his 2 deep throws, but I also told y'all something very distinctive because of what was told to me. And I didn't go into great detail, but I said over 100 throws in practice that happened, and we're raving about 2. Why isn't nobody talking about the other 98 plus throws? Why is nobody talking about all the other throws that happen in practice? And what else did I say? I said, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave it there. But if we're going to rave about 2 plays, but there's over 100 and you ain't hearing nothing about any other ones, that should tell you enough. But I didn't want to be called a hater. You know, they're going to say, on the day when people saying Tua did good, now you got to find some way to hate. So I just gave y'all the truth vaguely. And I said, I'm not going to just go in and say, oh, this is what I'm really hearing. Screw them 2 passes. I left it alone. Now, I had some conversations backstage. Me and EM talk about everything every day. I told him what I heard. I told a few people this is what I'm actually hearing. But I said, I'm not going to kill him on camera. I'm just going to say, hey, good job on the 2 good throws. You know, a better day than the previous day. But that wasn't all I heard. But I'm not finna down the man, even, make it seem, one good thing that happened at practice. I don't want to take that away. So I eased it. I choose on Thursday to ease it. I'm not going to go hard. I'm going to leave the good 2 passes alone. But ladies and gentlemen, people start talking about the practice out in the media, and Mike Westoff is one of them. So at the end of the day, screw it. It's out there now. But it's funny that the whole media group, they're kind of playing along with this. Yeah, it wasn't good, but we'll leave it alone. But since it's out there, let's talk about what really happened on last Thursday. You could also go to Omar Kelly's Twitter, which he told you in so many words. He has a lot of concern about this offense. It does not look good at all. And he's really concerned about what it can do because he sees no evidence that this is going to be great. He sees no evidence that it's going to be great. TD, you did say that about the other 98 passes. I mean, not all 98 are bad or nothing like that. I mean, you got short crossers. They were nice, all of that. But there were a lot of over and under throws still. What was told to me was this was another bad practice by the offense, but at the end of the day, you can have 10 bad throws. You get one of them deep and it's good, then nobody cares anymore. Oh, yay, that's what I'm talking about. That's how it works. Y'all know how this goes. Y'all know how it goes. You can have 3 drives where you don't get a first down and you punt the ball, but you throw 150-yarder that's a dime for a touchdown. Nobody remember them 3 drives. You go from looking poor to all of a sudden in one throw, we balling today. Which ain't true, but that's the nature of it. That's the nature of it. So I'm going to play the clip of everything that was referred to by Mike on this day. And remember, guys, this is OTAs. It's a new system. It ain't supposed to look great. But according to Mike, even if it ain't supposed to look great, it ain't supposed to look this bad. So to all y'all who are going to continue to say, bro, it's just OTAs, there is a certain level you should still be at in OTAs. It ain't got to look great, but it shouldn't be looking that bad. It should not be looking as bad as it is. Let's play the clip. Y'all give me a second.
It's not good. Never good, Mike. Hey, Mike.
Can y'all hear this?
So we had a chance to talk to you after you were down on the field bonding with all the big timers. It came up, spent some time. It was great talking to you yesterday. Hey, I'm curious about your take on. We've been talking about this. The players have talked about this style. Mike McDaniel's completely this new style of young, super positive all the time, and really relates to every player. It's kind of new. Everybody I talk to is like, yeah, this first time we've seen this or been around it. You're an old school guy because I know who you've been with, and you've been with a whole bunch of old school dudes. What are your thoughts?
Okay, it's really simple for me. You can talk all you want about being positive and all the type of thing. What I always believed in is being reactionary. See, I wanted to react to what I saw. Man, you can be hard and everything, but I just wanted to be honest and reactionary. When things were good, I love being complimentary, and when things are on time and sharp and they're correct, yes, then you exemplify that. But when they're not, you just tell it like it is. And yesterday, it was not.
Let me pause right here. This is him talking about Mike McDaniel, y'all, because everybody's noticing that Mike McDaniel has nothing to say about nothing other than positivity. And what Mike is basically saying is, when things are great, then yes, man, you should be. But when things aren't and you're still being that way, he just doesn't get it. This is why I told y'all a few weeks ago, they could look like pure boo-boo garbage trash in practice, and Mike McDaniel is still going to make the positive. He's just going to talk about the positive to the media. So you're not going to get a true representation. TD, did you hear Mike McDaniel's interview? Everything is going great. Why am I listening to that when I know who he is as a person? There can be no wrong. There can be no wrong. Everything is all positive and great. And hey, that's his style. I'm not knocking that. Nothing's wrong with it. But what I'm saying to you is, as a fan listening to that, you can only take but so much for real talk. And that's basically what he's referring to. All this positive talk, but you still get positive talk when things aren't good.
When things were good, I love being complimentary. And when things are on time and sharp and they're correct, yes, then you exemplify that. But when they're not, you just tell it like it is. And yesterday, it was not. I mean, that offensive practice, I've been around a lot of offensive practices in my career. You go back, you think I had 32 years. Don't forget, I was with most of my career with some pretty good quarterbacks. Dan Marino, Vinny Testaverde, and of course, Drew Brees. Those guys are pretty good. They can play the game. And yesterday was just a terrible example of offensive football. So you can be nice and you can be positive and say everything you want, but at the same time, I just want to react to what I saw. And I saw where I would have shut the music off and started the whole doggone thing over. That's what I would have.
You know how they play music in practice all day, and whoever had the orange jersey gets to pick the playlist. He's basically saying, man, it was so bad, I would have shut the music off and said, let's start over. Let's start over. This is crap. But that's not what we're getting.
Wow.
That's just the way I feel, because of the fact that it just wasn't, the little things were so out of whack, that not lining up properly, not breaking the huddle and getting up sharp. I'm trying to, how many passes were completed downfield? Joe, you can count them on one hand. I mean, come on, this is a National Football League. Let's go.
You see what I'm saying? Everybody like, oh, it's OTAs, a new system. What that got to do with getting out of the huddle on time? What that got to do with lining up correctly? What does that have to do with being sharp? Get the play. Everybody get to the line instead of moseying around. I think they might be a little too relaxed. The music going, everybody chilling. They might be a little bit too relaxed. What, they waiting to training camp to turn it up? They waiting on training camp to turn it up? And now I see why Flores always said this. Command of the offense, get in and out of the huddle. Now I understand. I used to be like, why he always talking about that? Is it that important? But now I see why he always said that. We got to be better getting in and out of the huddle. We got to have a sense of urgency. We got to blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
The little things were so out of whack, that not lining up properly, not breaking the huddle and getting up sharp. I'm trying to, how many passes were completed downfield? Joe, you can count them on one hand. I mean, come on, this is a National Football League. Let's go.
How many passes were completed downfield? You can count it on one hand, but what they ain't saying, which I wish you would have said, is they threw a lot of passes downfield. But the ones that were complete, you can count on one hand. But then we got our quarterback in front of the media. Did you see the last one? It looked like a dime to me. That's what was hurtful. That was kind of hurtful to me. It was like, oh, you raving about one pass and letting that be the actual, hey, I told y'all. Oh my God. Like, what other quarterbacks have to do that? What other quarterbacks have to say, did you see that last pass? That was a dime. What quarterback has to do that? I'm sorry, but I try my best. I ain't gonna lie. The last 3 weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna chill. Even if I know it's worse than what it is, I'm gonna try to soften the blow. But it's very hard to do that. It's very hard to just like not be 100% truthful. It's hard to not just go in on crap. Let me just play this, man. I want some of y'all to hear it one more time.
We're so out of whack, that not lining up properly, not breaking the huddle and getting up sharp. I'm trying to, how many passes were completed downfield? Joe, you can count them on one hand. I mean, come on, this is a National Football League. Let's go. I see some talent, overall talent on that field that was pretty good to me. I think if you had an NFL race, the Miami Dolphins would win the race. That might be the fastest team in the league. They can run. And the defense looked pretty sharp. They got a good punter, a great punter, a good kicker. I see a defense that looks pretty doggone good. An offense that got some receivers that a lot of teams would trade for. But you got to get that guy that's pushing the button now. He's got to do the job. And
Special teams look good. Defense look pretty darn good. You got some great receivers that look good out there. But you got to get that guy that's putting shit in the button, which is the quarterback. You got to get him. You got to get him up to par.
They got a good punter, a great punter, a good kicker. I see a defense that looks pretty doggone good. An offense that got some receivers that a lot of teams would trade for. But you got to get that guy that's pushing the button now. He's got to do the job. And what I saw yesterday, I was very disappointed.
So let me ask you though, Mike. They're putting in this new offense, as you know, and so you got to give that time, or you still think they should be better? Think there should be more teaching?
It's too early.
Just
Here
to
you
follow
go.
up on that, when you're putting in something brand new, including this man-to-man blocking to zone blocking in and out style.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it takes a little time. But at the same time, there's a lot of meeting time. There's walkthroughs, and when you practice, don't practice something that you don't have an opportunity to execute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, this is a National Football League. These guys are good. I mean, they've been great college programs. When you come out after you walk through it and you practice it, it's got to look pretty sharp. And then you keep practicing that. You don't have to have – I mean, we're not talking about having an opening day game plan yesterday. Of course not.
Right.
That's not what it has to be. But it should have been in a position that it could have been much more efficient from what I've seen. And I've been on a lot of practice, 32 years. I've seen a lot of practices. I be honest with you, on offense, I was really that's what I was really concentrating. I wanted to see what they were doing with the quarterback, how he was progressing. And I'll just be real honest, guys, I didn't see it. I really didn't. And you can say what you want. Oh, well, we're just learning it. We're just putting it in. And okay. Yeah, sure. I'm not expecting to be getting ready to open the season. I'm expecting to be in a mini camp offense. That's all I want to see.
He ain't had no high expectations. He just wanted to see a mini camp offense, what a mini camp offense should look like at this point. He didn't ask for no game plan opening season. He wanted to see what a mini camp offense should look like, and he just didn't see it. And he doesn't see the growth in the quarterback. He doesn't see any improvement in the quarterback. He just doesn't. And somebody said no pads. Come on. That's even worse, because it's actually worse when the pads come on. Do people not understand that? It actually gets worse when the pads come on for offenses. Usually it's the reverse. Oh, the offense killing it. That's when you're supposed to say, yeah, but ain't no pads on. Let's see how they do with the pads on. You can't use the no pads on as a reason. This is the easiest it'll be for the offense. Wide receivers not really getting touched. Quarterback's not even getting touched. Even if it would have been a sack, he gets to throw it freely without concern because you can't hit him. It's ridiculous. This is the easiest point for the offense. And Ryan Maserati, no, bro, you're the idiot, okay? Comments like that are just as ignorant as can be. Defense is always ahead of offense at the beginning of camp. Did I say they weren't? We know the defense should be ahead of the offense, but the offense still shouldn't look this bad. What's your point? You're making no sense. I'm not debating what you're saying, but calling me an idiot because I actually agree with you, then that makes two of us. You are 100% correct. So that makes two of us. But what does that have to do with where our offense is? Our offense shouldn't be this bad right now. You had 2 days in a row. One of them, everybody admitted it was horrible. The next day, everybody under their breath, it was horrible again. But what dominated the story? 2 deep passes. You know why? You know why those 2 deep passes dominated the story? Because every writer got the clicks they needed by reporting it. Why am I going to sit here and just talk about how bad it was other than the 2 when I got to write an article that need to get some clicks? Why I'm going to let my competition, the other news outlet, get more clicks than me? That's what's really happening here. But some of them low-key on Twitter and stuff like that are telling y'all the truth. Nothing impressive, and they actually concerned. Most of them are telling y'all on Twitter that there's been nothing impressive, and they're actually concerned. Oh, bro, it's OTAs. Don't be hating. And here you go. You got a 30-plus year experienced guy who was also a Dolphins coach at once, just so you know. Was here when Dan Marino was here. Bledsoe, he coached. He was with. He got to sit there and watch Drew Brees all those years. And this offense just isn't sharp. and the guy pushing the buttons ain't pushing the ball. And y'all trying to make it seem like it's supposed to be better for the offense when the pads come on? When you can be physical with the receivers out the gate? Y'all know ain't no physicality with the receivers right now, right? With no pads on. They running free in open spaces and defenders just chasing them. There ain't no jostling. There ain't no physicality. None of that. It's the chase game. It don't get easier than this for the offense. And yeah, they're supposed to be behind, but there's levels to that too. How far behind should they be? How far behind should they be?
I didn't see it. I really didn't. And you can say what you want. The practices. I be honest with you, on offense, I was really that's what I was really concentrating. I wanted to see what they were doing with the quarterback. How he was progressing. And I'll just be real honest, guys. I didn't see it. I really didn't. And you can say what you want. Oh, well, we're just learning it. We're just putting it in. And okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. I'm not expecting to be getting ready to open the season. I'm expecting to be in a mini camp offense. That's all I want to see.
Mike,
is there a reason for that not being efficient? Yeah. I don't understand the reason.
All right, so I standing next to you, and you hadn't left yet as the head coach was talking. You were just getting ready to leave, and he was pretty positive right off the bat. The message was Tua's getting better and better, and the team really he's got to do that, right? I mean, he's got to build this guy up because that's going to be his guy. You don't have a problem with that, though?
No, of course not. Okay. No, I think there's you want to be. You're not throwing. I don't want to throw somebody under the bus. I absolutely.
So they talking about Tua right now and how Mike McDaniel, his dynamic of kind of defending him and being positive about him.
Do that, right? I mean, he's got to build this guy up because that's going to be his guy. You don't have a problem with that, though?
No, of course not. Okay. No. I think there's You want to be. You're not throwing. I don't want to throw somebody under the bus. I absolutely not. That's not where I'm talking about at all. I just want to react to what I saw, and I don't care if it was Dan Marino out there. It wasn't a good day. That's just it. That's not going to be Dan. That didn't look like him, by the way.
No, we got a large fan base who would tell you they have. Yeah, that's a whole different. That's a whole different deal. Yeah,
but at the same time, you get my point. I mean, come on. It's just. That's all there is to it. I'm not going to go up there and destroy the guy and be yelling and screaming what I didn't see. No, that's not what you have to do. That's not it at all. It's just the fact of being real and saying, this is, we're headed in this direction. There's some bumps. We weren't.
He basically like, he feel like Mike McDaniel needs to be real. He's not going to destroy him in the press conference and say, well, I ain't seeing none of that. What are you talking about? That's not what you do. And you definitely don't expect Mike McDaniel to throw his quarterback under the bus, which, that's why he don't have a problem with what Mike McDaniel's doing, but he wants him to be more real. And being more real is saying, hey, this is where we are right now. We got, some bumps in the road and we got to get to this point. But Mike ain't doing that. Mike is singing praises about everything. Basically, you listen to Mike McDaniel, hey, we almost in true form ready for the season. That's kind of what you get from the pressers.
We weren't close to where we want to be today.
Mike, I want to take you a step further.
Dude, that's not it at all. It's just the fact of being real and saying, this is, we're headed in this direction. There's some bumps. We weren't close to where we want to be today.
Mike, I want to take you a step further because I said to you, Mike, you're old school. I told you yesterday, and I said, when you say this stuff, people are going to go, look at that, an old coach. It's just not ready to change with the times.
That's exactly what people will say. He's an old coach. He don't know what he's talking about. He's not ready to change with the times.
Of the way today's society is just like today's football, it needs more positive reinforcement. What do you say to that, Mike?
It's a good question. I think by being real, you're not being unpositive, and you're not.
Thank you.
Not doing that. I don't think by being a little bit hard or harsh that I'm not, keeping up with the millennials that I want. I just want to do it right. Yeah. That's all. It's not that hard to me. And it's not like I coached 100 years ago. Come on, I was the Saints a couple years ago knocking on the door to Super Bowl. So I have a pretty good feel for how things are supposed to be done. And that's just the way I believe you have to do it. And it was how you handle it. Do I want to be yelling and screaming at the guy? No, of course not. That's not it. If I had too many days in a row, that might happen. But
Flores.
you put me out at R4, you're gonna be doing some yelling. I can tell you. This guy killed me yesterday. He's talking about the book, and he gets gold to work with.
Coach Schuler told me I had to use them.
Hold on.
Hey, Mike Wood.
Good football player.
I appreciate you.
Coach, with a 3rd and 1.
And I, as I said,
All right, I want to go back to this important piece.
I heard that. I heard it.
Oh, my.
When he says being real is not being negative, he just wants to get it right. Being real is not being negative. And he credits it to these millennials, which is sad because it's so true, man. The soft nature of the young people now is so different, man. These young people, oh man, you need to be more positive. You need to be real and tell it what it is. Those are his exact words. Being real is not being negative.
That's not it. If I had too many days in a row, that might happen. For how things, I just want to do it right by being.
Coach, you're just not ready to change with the time.
Let you hear it again.
Of the way
it almost like he's speaking to me, because this is exactly what I be talking about.
Today's society is just like today's football.
I know I'm a millennial too, Slippy. That's my problem. I don't know what happened to us.
It's a good question. It's a good question. I think by being real, you're not being unpositive, and you're not doing that. I don't think by being a little bit hard or harsh that I'm not, keeping up with the millennials that I want. I just want to do it right. I just want to do it right.
Yeah.
That's all. It's not that hard to me. And it's not like I coached 100 years ago. Come on, I was the Saints a couple years ago knocking on the door to Super Bowl. So
it's that simple, man. Being real isn't being negative. Being real is not being unpositive. It's just telling the truth because we want to get it right. When you have commentators and people telling you about your team, being real is the only thing you should want, so you have realistic expectations and real hope for what should be, not false hope. That's the problem with these unreal people out here. They giving people false hope. And then whenever it doesn't come to pass, you use every excuse in the world or a new factor of why it didn't happen. Well, it was on pace, but if this didn't happen, no. And I'm going to call it how it is, man. I'm going to say it here and I'm going to say it now. It's a level of just being soft. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it what it is. There's this softness going on. It's just, get off of me. Get off of me. And listen, I ain't claiming to be this hard dude, this and that and this. Listen, I make wise decisions. I ain't gangster. I ain't none of that. Ain't what I'm talking about. But this soft mentality, I never thought in my life that words can hurt people so much as they do today. Like, where's that old crappy mantra that they used to tell us in elementary school? Sticks and stones may hurt. What was it again? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, or something like that. Bring it back. Bring it back. I mean, people used to say it, and you'd be like, okay, but now I see why they said it. Now I see why they said it. It's just cupcake pillow now. Everything. Just weak. Everybody offended. That hurt my soul. Like, gosh, what happened at a young age? See, this is what I'll be talking about. This is why I be telling my wife all the time, no, leave him be. You know, my son be running. He fall on the pavement, skin his knee. Get away from him. Get up. All right, let's go. I'll check on you in 5 minutes, make sure it ain't as bad. But you're going to learn at the end of the day, ain't nobody finna be sitting there coddling you all day from every little thing that happens. It happened. Ain't nothing you could do about it now. I don't get it, man. Don't talk to him like that? Why are you talking about him? Why are you hating on? Oh my God, people in their feelings because of difference of opinions. What happened to, well, we disagree, and if it bothered me that much that we disagree and I really don't believe in what you're saying, bye. What happened to that? Just bye. I can't deal with you no more. I can't deal with it no more. I'm blocking you. I'm unsubscribing. I'm whatever. But these people have to stick around to tell you how they feel just to get back at you. Like, it's like this one-up thing. Man, he talking about somebody I love, so I got to stick around to see him fall some way, somehow. It makes no sense to me. I can't. I can't. That's why on Twitter, I pinned my first message on Twitter. You know, all you gotta, you'll never know I exist if you just block me, and you'll never see a tweet of mine. I tell people that on YouTube too. If I told y'all what y'all wanted to hear, we'd have 40,000 subs right now. I'll be lying my behind on the way to the bank, making money off of just telling you falsehoods, false expectations. I'll be lying my behind off to you. It ain't hard. I can tell you everything you want to hear. This whole situation, man, this guy don't know what he's talking about. This is a new NFL. It's a new offense. You know, everybody knows Tua's making improvement. You know, at the end of the day, a few slip-ups here and there, but we're going to be great, man. I think this is our Super Bowl run. I can have that narrative on these type of stories all day, and people be like, yeah. Matter of fact, man, let me donate. That's how it works. And people got the nerd always, TD know what he doing. He making money off of talking negative about Tua. You know how much less money is in talking negative about Tua? You can go watch any video of mine and go look at the title. If the title is positive about Tua, high views. If the title was telling the truth about what's happening with Tua, lower views. Tua making a big deal out of one good throw to Tyreek. NFL quarterbacks are supposed to make a big deal about their one bad throw. These are the best players in the world, man. Most throws should be great. I agree. EM, what you got on this, homie?
TD, give me 1 second, bro. Give me 1 second.
I got you. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, man, we got to stop this cupcake babying. Everything deserves an excuse. It's a new offense. It's a this. It's a that. Wouldn't we saying it was a new offense 2 years ago? Wouldn't we? Wouldn't we talk about it was a new offense 2 years ago? Then it was another new offense. Then it was a whole nother new offense. We're going to keep on talking about it's a new offense. So if we struggle this year and we win 7 games, hey, let's just keep the same team. It was a new offense. They had to get their bearings. You know, we won 4 straight at the end of the season. That's what we're going to do.
Okay, bro. My bad. My bad, TD.
Nah, you good. Can you
What's good? What's good, man?
I'm good, man. Hold on. Give me a second. I want to my audio. I need to make sure I got my.
Is my audio fine?
You great, bro.
Okay, that's what's up. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody in the building. It's always showing up to show TD some love. Sometimes he puts out good content, but I can't.
What you think about this story?
Man, I'll say this though, TD. You know, we talked about this, briefly last night. You know, it's not good to hear. You know, it's not what we all want to hear. You know, if you go back to when we hired Mike McDaniel, we fired Flores and then we hired Mike McDaniel. You know, the whole buildup with this, Mike McDaniel aura was that he was going to come in and immediately have this offense looking like the second coming of the greatest show on turf. And I cautioned everybody, you had people on platform and off platform was so easily and so quickly. It seemed like they were so eager to anoint him, this guru and this, offensive, this offensive, brilliant minded individual so fast. And I would always caution people, look, man, just wait and let it play out. Let's see what the product looks like on the field before we start to be so quickly and so, eager to anoint these people. Let them earn our praise before anything. And again, with that being said, this is not the end all be all. It's not time to hit the panic button because at the end of the day, we're still in June. But I will say this: there's been a quiet consistency since the start of the offseason. OTAs. Now we're into mandatory minicamp. There's been a quiet undertone of inconsistency surrounding this offense. That is public now. See, now we've been hearing this privately for a while now, but now it's starting to bubble, and it's starting to come public.
Nobody wanted to speak about it because, again, they got to be in the building every day.
Right. So at the end of the day, listen, I agree with Ball Game's point. He was in a chat, and he said that, it's just not time to really panic right now. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but it's not time to panic now. But we're starting to see a pattern of inconsistency surrounding this offense to this point. And that is not what we want to see. I mean, training camp is just a little over a month away. So Mike McDaniel, Tua, Teddy Bridgewater, the offense as a whole, the offensive line, we need to start hearing, and they need to start putting on the field a little more consistency, because once training camp comes, you want to be able to hit the ground running. And you don't want to have to be, behind in any way, shape, or form, because we all know how important and what's riding on this year, especially Tua Tagovailoa.
The whole team, and because other teams are going to be on the 8 ball. And ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear. We know this ain't a time to panic. We're not panicking. We're just reporting what we're hearing day by day. And so far, there has been a consistent level of this conversation that hasn't been very vocal, but it's starting to be, because it's starting to happen more and more. They got 4 days of OTAs this week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Hopefully that narrative can change after practice today.
And it can. And it can.
It's open to the media. And if it is, I'm just going to keep on asking any difference, and we're going to see it. I'm going to report the truth that there's starting to be a little bit more difference, camaraderie, getting in and out of the huddle, lining up properly, making plays. Then we'll report. Oh, Ball Game here. What's up, Ball Game?
What up, fellas?
Ball Game. Salute, homie.
How we doing?
Good, man. Good. Everything good on your end, bro?
Yeah, man. Just, this is always the time of year that I reflect on, like our summers, when I was coaching. And I get what you're saying, TD. I understand 100%, man, the concerns, because we're not there, and you want to hear positive things coming out that are happening. But, I always said, and I keep saying it all the time, anytime you have a shakeup and it's on offensive side of the ball, that process is always going to be a lot more muddy, and it's going to be a lot uglier than on defense. Defense is easy, right? Because those guys have to pin their ears back. You know what I'm saying? The intricacies of learning zone and stuff like that, that takes a little time. But generally, they come along a lot faster than the offense does. And the fact that this is now the third time now that these guys are going through this process of trying to figure out an offensive identity and all this stuff, I can't push the button yet. I'm not going to, just because I know what that entails. I know how difficult that is. And another thing, I know what the expectations around him coming in are, where that bar is set as well. So for me, I just said, what I need to hear is that they're working towards trying to figure out the basics of this offense. You know what I mean? And I know that this defense is 3 years ahead of them. So no matter what they put out there, whatever he's working on or whatever he's using as his foundational pieces, it's still going to look kind of mediocre against this defense unless he's asking Boyer to dial the defense back, which he shouldn't be doing, because that doesn't help them. You see what I'm saying? So whether it's in pads or shorts, they're markedly going to be at a disadvantage against this defense in particular, because it's one of the better defenses in the league.
We're going to run into some of the better defenses to start the season. So should we expect a slow start too?
I said that. I said that from the jump.
Real quick, Ball Game.
Yeah, bro.
Real talk. Does it concern you that the defense is not completely intact? We don't have the foundation on the field yet. Byron and Xavier Howard hadn't played a snap. They've been on the sideline.
Right.
So does that concern you to some degree? Seriously.
It does. It does, but only because outside of the two cornerstones on the outside edges, everything else was pretty damn good on this defense anyway. Holland is still there. Jones is still there. Rowe is still there. You see what I'm saying? Jerome and Landon and all the guys up front are still there. So you're really only missing your 2 lockdowns on the outside. But as you know as well as I do, football is played in 3 specific areas: outside, trenches, and through the quarterback play in the backfield. You know what I mean? And if the guys that we got out there right now playing and subbing in those 2 spots, I think that's a plus to hear that Noah's out there being able to run and make plays. You know what I mean? That's building to what we've been wanting from him all along as well. But it's shorts and shirts. You feel me? And I know that McDaniels, you know, I didn't dub him as this offensive guru only because I never really heard consistently that there were reports that he was the actual one calling the plays in San Francisco. But
I agree, ball game. I tried to tell, and you know, I was up front, and I was, bro. From day one, I said, listen, man, my message to everybody, you know, whether you got a platform or not, on platform or off, you know, McDaniel. It's one thing to, and you would know this better than anybody. It's one thing to help contribute and establish a game plan for Sunday. Right. It is a whole new ball game calling plays in real time on Sunday.
Facts.
2 totally different things. So
big facts.
I've been consistent about that. Listen, there's going to be a learning curve with the head coach included.
Yes.
So we just need to, again, at this point, we don't want to hear this because this is eerily similar to what we've heard the previous 2 years.
See that,
but where we
won't
are
know about that until the regular season, though. We won't be able to start evaluating that until game time.
No, I'm talking about the reports. I'm talking about the reports.
No. What I'm saying is, but even because I'm skeptical about it, okay? And we won't be able to evaluate that part because our offense can get rolling and everything, but nobody's talking about the fact of what if we got bad play calling?
There's going to be some of that, though, TD. There's going to be learning curves. There's going to be learning curves for him as the offensive signal caller. There's going to be issues of terminology and things that are not coming through clear, all the way from the quarterback to him relaying it to the players and them understand, you know, all this stuff. Like, if he didn't take something that was, I don't know, there was too many pieces, man. Too many pieces moved on our offense and brought in from other spaces that he's got to work through trying to figure out where all of these guys' foundation is in terms of a language that they can all speak, that they all understand right now, and then build from that. If he's coming in, let's just say like Cedric and Tyreek came in speaking Turkish, right? And in their offense previously, Waddle was used to German, and then you got German and, you know, him and Tua was speaking German. And then you bringing in Armstead and Williams, and both of them, those guys are speaking Yugoslavic. I mean, speaking whatever the case might be. All these guys got to get on the same page, bro. And the only way you're gonna ever, it's gonna be hard. It's hard. It's gonna be hard. They're gonna struggle, bro.
Here's the point. But in your point, from my understanding, the receivers are the ones speaking the same language already.
But
they done already start speaking Mike McDaniel language.
Listen, so
the receivers haven't been a concern.
So what are you saying, TD? Who is not up to speed in your opinion?
The guy pushing the ball has to be better.
I knew that was covered.
Well.
You know that was covered.
But it's the truth. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm not arguing. I get that. But think about this, right? So I don't like making excuses. Like, y'all know, I really don't give two craps about quarterbacks because I think they're the most protected guys at times, but they also the ones that carry the biggest burden of the team, right? But in those instances, this kid, him, Teddy Bridgewater, whoever the case may be, they gotta learn he had to know everything that Tyreek gonna be doing, everything that Water gonna be doing, everything that Gesicki gonna be doing, everything that the backs are supposed to be doing, including protections, plus the offensive line, all in one play. There's no way in the world right now where they just got these playbooks introduced to them roughly about 5 weeks ago, he's gonna have even 10% of that. No way.
Skylar
And it's
got
all
20.
starting with a whole new language.
Here,
Skylar got
you hear him
20%.
ball game. Here you go. Here, yeah.
Skylar
Here-
already know 20%.
Here
ball
you go.
game.
You hear? Listen at him ball game.
No, I hear him. I mean, listen, he's
saying.
arguing. Listen, I understand his concerns. I do. I had them as well. That's why I always hate when you have wholesale changes at this level, because somebody's going to be affected about it. And unfortunately, on the offensive side of the ball, it's generally because there hadn't been much continuity for Tua in any of the previous offenses that give you a warm and fuzzy that you can take what he'd previously done and move that to the next level. That means that you got to have McDaniel's got to come in and try to establish some foundation for him to tie all of what he knows in. And I'm just not sure right now at this point they've done that yet.
Real quick, ball game. Let me ask you a question. Speaking of Mike McDaniel, okay, if we are, if we move, once we move forward to July and August, and we're still hearing, the reports are stating that they're still behind the 8 ball in some way. They're not up to speed as what they need to be. Do you put more blame on? Do you put more, more of the responsibility and the blame on the coach, or is that a personnel issue? You think?
Coach.
It has to be at this point, right?
Coach.
It has to be the coach now.
That's coach because at this level, bro, where all of these players are right now in their careers and development processes, they should all be able to, without a shadow of a doubt, at least be able to formulate an understanding about the basics of what his football scheme, what his scheme should look like. You feel me? And if he can't articulate that to them and teach that to them in a way that they all can understand it, then that falls clearly on the coach. Because some of these guys will travel. Some of these guys are well traveled and been in other places and performed in all of those other spots. So they understand football. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when it comes down to his specific X's and O's, he has to be able to articulate that to them. Hey, man, he got to be able to talk to them in such a way that it's easy for them to understand. Oh, well, shit, I did it. Oh, okay, I remember that. We did that in Kansas City because we called it this, but you calling it this. Okay, I got that, coach. You know what I mean? He has to be able to tie in all of their previous experiences to what he wants in his system. And that's, again, was one of my questions. Could he do that? Because he was never, ever touted as the guy that was actually he was a run game coordinator, but that doesn't have anything to do with the passing element that because that's where our bread and butter is on this offense.
Good point. Very good point.
Our wide receiving core. Like if you look at it, the amount of talent that's there, the run game is just going to be there to keep teams honest, but the passing game is what we should be leaning heavily upon. And if he can't get that system or that understanding of verbiage and communication in place, it's going to be a shit show. Sorry,
I got a question for you about all this positivity, though. Even though everything ain't positive that's happening, can this style be carried even if you see struggles? And what I mean by that is we get to July, we still get the struggles. We get to week 3, we're looking bad offensively, and we still getting this positivity.
Oh, no.
But do you see Mike McDaniel being an altered guy where he changes that and becomes the general?
Well, he'll have to. TD.
But do you see that in him?
Well, I don't know. I
don't know that.
I don't know. I don't know enough about Mike McDaniels to really make it accurate. Make it accurate assessment of him in that regard. But no, man. See, one thing I had a problem with too, with again, and it's no shade on Mike McDaniel. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and give him a clean slate and let him earn, my praise for him as his abilities as a head coach. But the issue I have with the overblowing of, the oversell, you know what I mean? As a guy that has never been in a situation where he's a complete overseer of a unit, let alone a team. And if I hear about all the positivity about he's more likable, he's more relatable. Me personally, I don't give a damn about that, bro. It's about getting the best, maximizing your players, right? And I'm not saying he's wrong for doing that. I think every coach should be themselves. They shouldn't, put on a facade or a, try to masquerade as something that they're not. But when you're in a foxhole and them bullets are flying, bro, players are looking for solutions. They don't want to hear, "Oh, it's going to be okay," patting you on the back. "Oh, it's going to be okay," and cracking jokes and all that all that stuff in that we've seen to this point in these press conferences. So,
Right.
to your point, to your question, no, it will go south quick. I promise you.
But here's the thing, though. Mike McDaniel, here's where he loses me. The first day, practice was horrible, and everybody reported it, okay? The second day, back channels, everybody admitted, oh, it wasn't good again. Just them 2 passes and another one across the middle to Waddle, if you want to count it. But it wasn't a good day for the offense. Omar told everybody on Twitter they killed them. Now you got the ex-coach talking about it. But what did Mike McDaniel say? I learned a lot about Tua today. After having a bad day, I wanted to see if he could bounce back, and he did. You saw those plays at the end of practice. Is that how he's evaluating because we connected on 1 or 2?
Well,
I don't get it. His narrative is a little overblown to me.
Well, the thing is, right now at this point, he's got to establish individual relationships with all of these key guys, that ones that were brought in from other spaces, as well as his quarterback. And the only way he's going to really be able to get a true assessment of it is to clean slate the whole process, right? So he's probably got a sheet, right? It's broken down into all the different levels on the field, and there's certain throws that are being made to each of those levels, and he's grading those throws himself, or he has somebody doing this. And then they sit down and they discuss it after the fact. And, he's talking to Tua probably throughout the process, asking him what he's seeing, what did he struggle with, things of that nature. But that's all a part of him building a relationship with Tua, right? And the only way they're going to ever be able to do that is in live action. But unfortunately, he's now having to deal with this also with all of this scrutiny. Well, I wouldn't say scrutiny, but all these other eyes on this process, because it's been promises for 3 whole years that we've been waiting for some product for us all to be able to say, okay, we're here now. We're ready to be, this is a playoff team. We're ready to take it to the next level. So unfortunately, what would be afforded if we was a 5-10 team consistently for the last 5 or 6 seasons, nobody wouldn't care. Nobody would say, "Oh, okay, it's a new coach. All right, yeah, you'd have a couple fan, couple people consistently as fans involved in the process and wanting to find out what was going on." But because there's so much anticipation of this team taking the next step, everything, every aspect of how he's going to go about moving forward with this group is going to be scrutinized, either good scrutiny or bad scrutiny. It's all just going to be scrutinized because there's so many other eyes on this process. And
well, why can't we just be honest in it?
Well, because I'm a look, TD. I don't know if it's just. I think it's just a thing amongst coaches, bro. Like really and truthfully though, but internally,
I agree, Bob.
We don't discuss in-house business outside, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be a united front outside, standing on the sidewalk. I'm gonna smile at the cameras and I'm gonna tell everybody that everything is fine and dandy. But I ripped ass and we ripped ass and we had brawls behind the scenes, but when we came out all collectively together, we were united. And that just
hold on. Yeah, I mean, let me. No, I gotta respond to that. So hold on. So you think maybe behind the scenes when nobody around, McDaniel giving them the real deal?
Yeah,
because ain't that what Flores did?
His name on the line, bro.
Yeah,
but ain't that what Flores did?
Yeah. But
that was a problem.
But see, here's the problem.
Made me feel like maybe Mike ain't giving it to him like that behind scenes.
Okay. Well, here's the difference. Mike McDaniel, see, the difference with Flores to some degree from what I've heard, it's one thing to critique a player, but it's another thing to, threaten them. If you don't do this play, if you get out there and you fuck up again tomorrow, I'm sorry, TD, if you mess up again tomorrow, this play, we're gonna take our shirts off and get it. We gonna catch a fade in the in the back. You know what I
Man,
mean?
you believe that he is?
Yeah. I'm just saying what I've heard. I'm just saying. Listen, but Mike McDaniel is different. His ability to communicate and critique is just different than what Flores is. He might take a more, but I'll say this and I agree with Ballgame 100%. Mike McDaniels has to be, again, presenting that public united front. All teams do that. You can't discuss in-house business publicly. That's just the nature of NFL
But
coaching.
just like Mike said in that interview, at least be transparent to the point of where you say, today we weren't where we wanted to be. We got a lot of work to do, but we'll get there. At least have something, but we don't even get that.
Yeah.
We get a bad day and all the good stuff out of it.
Well, he's aware of I'm sure he's well aware of the the scrutiny that Tua has been under in particular, lately. And he doesn't want to, and I get it. I understand. I'm not saying that's the best approach. I'm just saying I understand because he's trying to publicly, he's trying to give this kid Tua. He's trying to, give him every opportunity to build his confidence, and he don't want to contribute to anything negative. Hey, man, it's what it is, TD.
You see what we've come to,
I'm not saying it's right, bro. I'm not saying it's right, and I don't agree, but that's what I think Mike McDaniels was doing.
Hey, we had a quarterback. We had a quarterback at Bonnie. Head coach hated him. Couldn't stand him. Wouldn't have pissed on him if he was on fire. But out in the public, all he did was praise him. It be like that. But you got to do. Sometimes you got to do what's necessary for the player over your own. I don't know. I mean, they're doing a tough spot, man. There's a lot of expectations on this Dolphins squad, and if he don't deliver, he's just gonna be another name that unfortunately surrounded by a bunch of great talent that just didn't get it done. And
also think about this ball game, TD and Drug. That man sold that allegedly, according to Chris Greer, because he put him on Front Street. He put his behind on blast. He sold Chris Greer and Steve Ross that he can fix Tua. That's what he said. So just saying.
And Chris Greer made sure the media knew it.
So we'll see. So he has to do again. I'm not saying the man if it fails. I'm not saying he'll get fired. He'll be a one and done guy, but. That'll give if it fails, that gives Chris Greer and Stephen Ross all the ammunition in the world, bro. This is what you told us. You had a 2-hour clip on every throw allegedly what Tua made and how it and you went over that with us and you instructed us on how you can correct the bad and enhance the good. This is what you told us. So he's doing everything in his power to facilitate and accelerate Tua's development. And I get it. I'm not saying I'm not saying I agree with it. But I understand.
Hey, I'm gonna have to get back with y'all, fellas.
All right, ball game.
Yeah, ball game.
Hey,
I'm gonna hit you up soon, ball game. We need to chat, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure, bro.
That's what's up.
All right, one.
I don't like how Mike McDaniel attached himself to one player, and I feel like now he is officially attached to him.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I'm looking for a coach that's not attached to players, that's actually coaching players. And I don't like the attachment because now you take a lot more ownership, even if it's not warranted. Me and you had this conversation privately, EM. If this is a failure and Tua don't make it, is that grounds for moving on from Mike McDaniel after 1 year?
Well, it just depends. If Tua fails, well, he can always say, well, look, I did sell you on, that I could possibly fix him and correct, areas that he's deficient in. But I didn't draft him. You drafted him. Y'all banged the table for him. Y'all passed on Justin
Your
Herbert.
damaged goods.
Y'all passed on Deshaun Watson. Y'all did that, not me. So
well, I think it's a twofold. I think that if the team has success, but Tua fails, Mike McDaniel stays. Mm-hmm. But if the team fails and Tua fails, Mike McDaniel got to go too.
Because, I agree with that.
Because Brian Flores got 10 wins.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
So if you ain't fail, even if Tua fails, you still need to get 10. Am I wrong?
Oh, I agree.
Can I be honest with you? I always felt like, and good afternoon, gentlemen.
Salute to you, man.
I'm surprised you're awake, dude, after being up so late last night.
I know, right? Yeah.
But I always felt like, and I'm a little bit concerned after this. I'll be on. I'm not jumping ship like we said, but
No.
it's not nice to hear. It's not great hearing that it's looking this bad this early. But let me be honest with you. I've got a little, I like my conspiracy theories. Mike McDaniel to me feels a little bit. Could he be maybe like a little bit of a scapegoat here for Chris Greer and Stephen Ross?
Listen,
Maybe to get us a buffer year to move on to another quarterback. Again, I don't think Mike McDaniel was plan A going into the offseason. I think Flores dropping the nuke on the Dolphins totally blew up the plans for the summer, and then they took the guy that nobody else wanted.
That's a given.
It's starting to feel like it.
First of all, McDaniel was playing D. Let's get this straight. And yes, he is a fallback guy, but hopefully he can have success to where he can stay. For me, that's how I view it, because I like McDaniel. I just feel like he's getting a raw deal, and hopefully he can change that raw deal and make it something and become a great coach for the future. But we already know he was playing D. Why? First of all, plan A was Flores, but a trade for Deshaun Watson at the deadline. I don't care how much that front office didn't get along. I don't care how much drama Flores was in the organization. If they would have pulled the trigger at the trade deadline, Flores would still be here.
Probably, yeah.
That was A. That went south. So they came up with the new plan because they knew that they were going to end up getting rid of Flores, and the plan was Sean Payton and Brady. That failed because of Flores's lawsuit.
Yeah.
And then C was, in my opinion, actually it might have been E. C was Harbaugh, which he dodged that situation as soon as the allegations came out. Ended up interviewing with Minnesota, and he's the one who decided, I'm just going to stay in college. No, they were going to try Harbaugh. And then D was your boy over in New York. He was the leader, and he had the choice to make, and he chose the Giants. So then you say, okay, let's interview Mike McDaniel in the more with the Cowboys, and Mike McDaniel win the job. He was option E. They didn't plan on hiring Mike McDaniel. They felt they liked him in the interview and everything. Usually you already know who you want your next coach to be. They felt like they were impressed, and they got enough from him in the interviews that hey, as an option E, let's go with him. So no, he wasn't even close to being he wasn't close to being A, B, C, or D. He was the E option in my eyes, but hopefully he could turn that. That's like a 5th round pick ending up being a starter. Hopefully he could turn this into a Tom Brady type situation. They don't covet him like that. They found a guy who say that he believe into and he can make it work. Put him in. If he do, then hey, we must be really do got somebody. If he don't, it ain't a shock. You think they're gonna be shocked if Mike McDaniel fails? They're not gonna be shocked. They're gonna say, hey, we really need to make some, and then it'll be justification around the NFL. Yeah, you should go get Brady. Yeah, you should go get a premier coach like Sean Payton next year. And ain't nobody gonna look at a scandal behind it. So if Mike McDaniel can make this something special, then he's going to earn himself a job for many years to come with automatic notoriety. But if he fails, trust me, they will not be shocked. They will not be shocked.
Yeah. It feels to me like they're setting him up like they set up Flores to kind of be the fall guy at the end of it,
so
and to come
get Brady
again.
And
look at us today. Chris Greer looks like a genius. Everybody loves Chris Greer, and it's like we've forgotten Stephen Ross, all his discretions, and now the thing that's bugging me the most is that I feel like and we talked about this last night. I was on with Color, and we were talking about it. We're being lied to by the front office from day one, and it's, as a fan, it's frustrating. I'd rather go the floor. I didn't like the Flores route of not being told anything. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather know nothing than you lie to me to my face about what's going on.
But you'll never know that they lied. I could see 10 months from now. Well, we in June. I can see 8 or 9 months from now, Stephen Ross on a podium. You know, we spent so much money on this team. We invested in great players, and we expected more. And I think we owe it to the fans to make sure that we bring the best that we can to Miami. And for that reason, we've decided to move on from Mike McDaniel. And then very shortly after, you'll hear something like Sean Payton coming in, Brady coming in as I'm telling you, they already have it. If it works, then hey, it is what it is.
If it works, it works.
They will not be surprised. And let me tell you, a part of it is they could have made this team better. They could have brought in Akeem Hicks. Am I wrong? They could go get JC.
Absolutely.
They could make this team. They could Rams this thing up if they want. But there's a reason they're not. There's a reason they're not. And they're sitting here with 2 first-round picks next year and first the year after that. They're not. But listen, that front office, either way, succeed or fail, they're not gonna be, because do you think they feel like they're gonna win a Super Bowl this year? Do you think this front office bringing Teron Armstead and Tyreek Hill believe we're winning a Super Bowl this year?
I think if they had a more proven commodity at quarterback, they would.
Exactly. So do you think they believe we're gonna win a Super Bowl?
I don't think so.
No.
It's real simple in the NFL, and people don't pay attention to it. If you believe you're going to win a Super Bowl, you will do over and beyond to add everything. The little $20 million we got right now, hey, let's get some more. I mean, hey, go for broke if you believe. But when you know good and well, hey, at max we could be very competitive, then, hey, you already got a plan for the future setting up right in front of your eyes. You think this defense is going to get much better than this going forward? Some could argue it probably will go down in the next couple of years just from natural losing talent. In that offense, you expect a major lift from the offense. Remember that. That's what we all expected, a major lift from the offense. So when people say it's OTAs, you're overreacting, the offense is supposed to be behind the 8 ball. Well, when you start out behind the 8 ball, how much more of a massive improvement do you expect?
Yeah. Well, like the recording you heard that you were listening to earlier, what stood out to me is like that he said this is a guy that's been through many mini camps, right? He's been through many practices, and it wasn't just that it was bad. It was bad for a mini camp practice, which that's got to be real bad. I mean, like, it's just mind-boggling that we can be here. And the other thing that he told me that I heard too that really didn't sit well is that he said, like, looking as bad as it did, they should have never even been on the field. They should have come off the field by that point, and they needed to hit the reset button because you shouldn't be practicing bad habits, and you should always be practicing. Right. I mean, there's one. I get it's not. We're not in preseason, right? And it's there's probably a different vibe to some degree, but you should still be practicing, right? Getting out of the huddle, getting to the line, getting in the right spots, right? Like those things should be automatic all the time, especially at the NFL level. That's the thing that bothered me the most and concerned me the most. What you said too was that are they too comfortable? Are they too relaxed?
Let me tell you another thing he said that many may not have noticed in his interview. He said, you just chopped it all up in the film room, which you're going to come out and practice. Then you went over it in walkthroughs, and you come out and look like that?
Yeah.
You already chopped it up in the film room as a team. Then you go through walkthroughs, and then you come on the field and for the display, and you look like that?
So, so I didn't hear the entire interview, TD. The audio that you played, but so did it sound like where was he assigning the majority of the blame? Was it the overall install? Was it
No,
Tua
Sounded like he was talking
specifically?
about too.
No, because he talks about how the receivers look like great, fast, doing their job.
Mhm.
The defense, special teams look good, but the guy pushing the button has to get the ball where it needs to be.
Mm.
The whole thing was about Tua and Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Primarily about Tua, and then about Mike McDaniel, how he's handling it and how he's making it seem.
Mm.
So it was, and he even said in there, he said, I've been around a lot of great quarterbacks in OTAs. Dan Marino, he said Drew Brees, and one other guy that was pretty good. I forgot who he said. And he said basically none of them looked this bad in OTAs.
I heard Omar Kelly, and he just, man, I tell you, Omar, I don't know how he keeps his why he doesn't come completely unglued on a lot of these fools in his community, but he was on a Big O show the other day, and it sounds like what Omar was saying without saying it so much. Omar had, he had a similar opinion on what he's seen thus far, not just one practice, but collectively since they started OTAs and now they're in mandatory minicamp. Omar has been quietly, again, all these beat writers and stuff, there's a gag order in place on what specifically they can report.
Mm-hmm.
But Omar has been, and we talked about this privately, TD. Omar has been dropping nuggets here and there.
Yeah, he's been
know what I
telling you
mean?
what it is without telling you.
And and Omar, he was on Big O the other day, and he told him basically the same thing. He said, "Bro, I've covered this team for 15 years. What we're seeing now, OTAs, mandatory minicamp, it shouldn't look like this." And Big O's obviously his rebuttal. He clearly had he sleeps in his Tua hat and in his Mike McDaniel cap, and he was continuously trying to rebut Omar's point about saying that, oh well, it's the OTAs and it's they're out there on the way, which I do agree to some degree. But
Yeah.
Joe Patron had a very good point. We're not saying they should be in regular season form. This is bad for a OTA practice. This is bad for a mandatory minicamp practice, and that's what the message that they're saying. At this point, this offense, this quarterback should not look like this. So
this is why it's alarming, but people want to just because they did this last year, EM. We saw the things coming out of camp last year that it wasn't all gravy. There wasn't this huge separation from Bridgewater, all of that stuff, and y'all overreacting this early. But what was the end result?
Mm.
And this is the problem, because you get some teams out of camp, it's rocking and rolling. You ain't expecting greatness, but these people are telling you in the media, OTAs, albeit, but it still should be better than this.
Mm-hmm.
It still should be better than this.
Yeah.
It's like going to school in kindergarten and they try to teach you how to spell your name. At a minimum, you should know your name.
Mm-hmm.
But you in kindergarten, what's your name? I don't know. We are about to teach you how to spell it, but you don't even know it. That's the difference. So do you think a teacher would be alarmed about that? Would they be concerned?
Mm.
And this is what people need to understand. There's levels to everything. Nobody's saying that they're supposed to be game one ready, game plan, and that's what the guy said in the interview. But God dog, at least know your name.
Mm.
Yeah, that was the most troubling thing. He put it into context, like this isn't just bad, this is minicamp bad.
Right.
And you know what another thing that's alarming to me? How much of the passing game is being emphasized in OTAs? When didn't we all have an expectation of a heavy lean on the run?
I don't think our running backs are not who's at mini camps, because Mostert's not there.
The rest of those backs are there.
I think
and
all of them are
practicing.
there except Mostert. I think all of them
It's
are there.
just Mostert.
Practicing. Yeah, just Mostert.
Yeah, they all there and they practicing at the end of the day. And I know you didn't EM because you felt like with these weapons, we need to be airing it
Right.
out. But for me,
Right.
in order for us to be successful, we need to put more reliance on the run game, just like San Francisco.
Agreed.
Now, I understand San Francisco didn't have the weapons, but
Well,
I'm sorry. At this stage, Jimmy G is just a step above Tua until he eclipses that.
Well, my expectations, me personally, I was hoping that we would see a more balanced approach. You know what I mean? Not necessarily leaving too much on the through the air or the ground. I wanted balance. That's what I want because I think that's the best approach for any team, really. So, but
you see what's on the screen?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, what's good?
Did I not mention the run game to you on Miss Finn's channel?
You did.
On Friday.
You did.
You know what this comes down to? There's a story that gets rewritten in different ways each and every year. They make different movies, but it's pretty much the same story, and it's called Cinderella. Right? And what it comes down is every year we get these storylines, we get these headlines, we get these tweets, and it's pretty much just preaching the same narrative that we drafted the wrong quarterback. And as a member of Tuanon, I don't want to believe that, but like sometimes when the writing is on the wall, you can keep reading it and fooling yourself, but people can't put it in your face more clearer than smashing a pie in your face and saying like, you really look like a clown if you really expect something different. And like when I said 8 and 9, people thought I was crazy. But all I'm saying now is like, if we don't have a run game, I don't think we got a shot in the dark. Like he is who he is, and unless we can find ways to navigate around that, I don't know what more we can expect from this team going forward. And it's hard to say that, but it is what it is. Like, how much better can that hip get? How many more times can you say that I'm 100% healthy and this is what it's going to be, and this is what my fundamentals and my motion and my throw motion is going to look like now? I think we really have to get to the point that Alabama Tua is not coming back. The person who we thought we were drafting is not coming back.
What did I say to you the other day, EO? I said we keep on talking about his health. We keep talking about, well, he should be better this year and better this year.
Insanity coming in here dropping bombs.
I mean, but remember, the middle of his rookie year, they say he was 100%. The middle of his rookie year, they say he was 100%.
So we're clear. So, Fitzgerald, let me ask you seriously.
I'm a supporter of Tua. Just so we're clear, yes.
I'm gonna be, I want, I'm gonna be very direct here. So, in your opinion, and I'm not trying to put you on blast. I'm not trying to bring any heat your way. I just want to know from me personally, because I respect your football aptitude. So at this point, do you just think Tua is not the guy you think? You're not willing to give him until week 5 or week 10 or the year or whatnot? You think at this point Alabama Tua is not coming back?
Yeah, I think that narrative that people are trying to spin that guy will somehow come back. I think at this point, no, like, but I don't say you give up on him. I don't say you bench the guy. Like, if there is a way where you can find a way to make him productive in this system and scheme something to where he can be an effective QB, then I mean that's your job as the OC. That's your job as the head coach, right? So are we going to tell you can't do your job because of the personnel? No, like if this is what you got and you have put your chips in the center of the table on this guy, well, you got to let that play out. I'm sorry, not sorry. But it also goes into the grand scheme of things, like what is your end result, what's your expectations, and what do you want him to do? Like if you're going to say, Tua, we want you to throw, and that's why I love this quote saying, like, what's the point of having you can throw 80 yards if you don't have everything else around it that allows him to make that pass anyway, right? Just paraphrasing it. But like if you're saying to it, hey, listen, we need you to command, the intermediate. like have a good command on that, and you can show us that, then that's cool. But saying like the LSU just throwing it up to Devontae for like like touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, I don't think we won't see that. And like that's why I say like whatever your expectations are, that garners your of where you're going to be, whether you're disappointed or whatever. Like there's nothing wrong with commanding the intermediate level of the field. There's nothing wrong with that. If you can get 15-yard pickups, that's good. It don't all got to be 30. It don't all got to be 40. But when it is there, take it. But we don't need to like.
Oh, my bad. Do you know Tua has 0 passes more than 30 yards inside the numbers?
Well, TD, I mean that makes sense if I played in my mind. But like I said, like if it can get 15, I'm cool with 15. 15 is the first down.
Yeah.
15 is a first down. I mean, like I said, it's what you expect him to do and understanding what his abilities are and what they're not. And if you can work with that, don't be giving this false narrative to the fan base that we're going to be trying to do this if you know the QB can't do that. You feel me? And it's not a negative thing to Tua, because at the end of the day, as the coaching staff, knowing what you have, sometimes you got to work with what you got to be successful. And that's not all on Tua. That's also on the play calling, situational awareness within the game and stuff, understanding the defense you're going against and stuff like that, and using what you have to make that offense successful. I don't need Tua trying to hit Tyreek on go routes every single play. But if you can hit Tyreek on a productive, like consistently on a quick slant, and it's right there, like even Brady and Edelman made a living off of those quick screens. I mean, not quick screens, quick slants. Made a living off of that. Walker and Tom Brady made a living off of what's his name. Even Michael Thomas, one of the best wide receivers with Drew Brees, made a living off of quick slants. So for like, I don't think that this whole narrative has to be about Tua's arm strength or whatever. It's about making sure that whatever you ask him to do in a real game situation is something that he can consistently execute.
I agree.
Now, real quick, here's my second question.
Okay.
Now
that was a rant.
Now that Alabama Tua, in your opinion, is not coming, is never coming back.
This is Alabama Tua just in the NFL.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Do you think that Mike McDaniel specifically can extract enough out of Tua to where we can be, to where we can get enough consistent play from him to seriously challenge and compete in the AFC?
Well, I mean, look at the 49ers. Look what they've done with Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why we bought into Mike McDaniels, that we've seen what that scheme can do with a Jimmy Garoppolo behind center.
Led by the run game.
Right.
Primarily.
So I don't have and the thing with me is I've never had a problem with us going this route with Mike McDaniel and Tua, knowing that, okay, if Tua balls out, great, we got Tua. But if he doesn't, I know we can still be competitive like the 49ers have been. Mm-hmm. And in the background, we could be working on the next guy, just like the 49ers are.
Mm.
So here's my concern about this whole 49ers comparison narrative, right? The issue that I have with that comparison is it never got the job done of what the ultimate goal is. It never got the job done.
But they're still a competitive team, TD.
But that ain't what I'm here for.
No. But hear me out. They're a competitive team and an attractive destination with a quarterback waiting in the wings. Again, if they can continue to be competitive and keep and retain talent and bring on new talent, and you have a young quarterback who you think is the guy, you're built for success even in the long term. So you're competitive today with still a chance to be in the Super Bowl, whether you win it or not. I mean, I'll take that over the last 20 years.
But how competitive have they truly been? I understand they made a trip to a Super Bowl in an NFC championship, right? But even the NFC championship, do you see how they skirted in? Sometimes it does take that level of luck.
I mean, I could tell you the Bengals were were a product of that. I mean, Joe Burrow looked really rough in the playoffs, and he was absolutely carried by the defense.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he look rough?
He looked rough. Burrow did not look like he did in the regular season like he did in the playoffs.
No, you don't. But I always tell y'all this. Elite quarterbacks look great in the regular season, and then they look really good in the postseason.
He didn't look good
That's
to me
normal.
in the postseason.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the 10-sack game, his performance, none of this would have even been close to relevant.
I mean, like look at the we can look at the Chiefs game. In the Chiefs game, the defense won that game.
Yeah, but again, that could be said about both. That could be said about both teams, right? That could be said about even Mahomes in the Chiefs game. The defense, the ones that showed up. The offense didn't enough.
Yeah, but then I can go and I can look at what the Rams did in the postseason. Matt Stafford looked great all postseason. I mean, the great quarterbacks look great. I mean, Joe Burrow to me, he didn't look great. He looked incredible in the regular season. I mean, I'll be the first one to say, like, Joe Burrow to me is that guy that I think is going to be the potentially the next Tom Brady for the next 20 years. But in his offense, it was so anemic around him. It was Joe Burrow in that offense. It was just him and just making it work with what he did. But my point being is, if you're a competitive team year after year, you always have a chance to get there, and you're not only have a chance to get there, but then when the offseason comes, you're an attractive destination for free agents. Players want to go to a team where they feel like they're going to have a chance to win. So you have that we already have the allure of Miami, right? No income tax, Miami, beaches, whatever. But being a competitive team puts us over, like it just puts us over that attractive level of being able to get really talented guys to come here. Our struggle has always been nobody wants to come here, so we got to overpay guys like Ndamukong Suh, and we got to overpay these guys that are not really worth the money because we're trying to sell them on something that doesn't exist. If we're a team that's year in, year out competitive, that part of the equation is easy. It'll be easy to get guys like I don't know, I mean, we saw this season, like Tyreek Hill. Unfortunately, we did have to kind of overpay Tyreek Hill to come here, whether you like it or not. He chose Miami because we paid him. And if we're a team that's competitive year in, year out, it's going to be easier to do what the Buccaneers have done, what the Rams have done, is being able to attract talent. And if you can get a guy like the Rams did, you can go out and get the quarterback when the time is ready. You've got a team that's immediately a Super Bowl contender.
TD, I don't understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so what you're saying, you don't think San Francisco has been competitive under?
No, it's not that they haven't been
What's
competitive. Sometimes you also have to have that factor of luck too. I mean, look at the Green Bay game. And we're talking specifically offense here, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What did they offense do in the Green Bay game?
Right.
Did you see? Remember that game?
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sometimes it takes a little luck. They won that game off of a special teams play, right?
Right.
But when you look at most of their games, that's what ends up happening, led by the defense. So
not like it wasn't that way in the Super Bowl run. The year they went to Super Bowl 2 years ago.
It wasn't that year. But in my opinion, that was a much better overall team. They at least had competent weapons around the board around Jimmy G. And Jimmy G just screwed that up. But that even makes my point even further. In that Super Bowl run, who was the outlier?
Well, I think they had more. They have better weapons now, in my opinion, because at that point, Debo was not the player that he is now, right? They had they had historically great running game that year. They didn't. They didn't last year. You have a young, promising, ascending wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk. They didn't have him the year they went to the Super Bowl. And they still had George Kittle. So I think, and they still had, they had Mostert, they had,
But
you know,
slow
they
down for a second. How many people?
They had Tevin Coleman.
The way
Tevin
that
Coleman.
the way that they use that team. How many people had seen that?
What do you mean?
I mean, they're like the outlier team. Other teams run the West Coast, but the way they run it with the run centric, the way that they use their wide receiver / backs, nobody is really used to that. It's like a outside version of the Wildcat.
Well, they weren't doing. That's my point. They weren't doing a lot.
That with those backs that they ran by committee.
Not the year they went to Super Bowl. They didn't.
They were running a lot of those same plays, bro.
Nah, they.
So you think they were running?
They put Debo in the backfield by necessity because all the running backs were like injured.
Exactly.
But I'm talking. We're talking about a full season. Are we talking about when Debo wasn't even playing and they had those other backs running the heck out of the ball?
Oh, most of has
Debo played from a necessity of injuries. Let's remember that. But what those other guys were doing before Debo was highly impressive on a whole nother level.
What the running backs were doing?
Yes.
They had historically great overall rushing attack that year.
But remember, we're comparing that system to this system that we're going to have in Miami. I don't see it. It's never actually been successful. It's been carried by the defense in a historic run game. Now, do you think we're about to have a historic run game?
Well, no.
That's all I'm saying from a comparison standpoint. If you're going to already be limited at the quarterback position and going that far, you got to have those elements. But defense and a historic run game.
But here's the thing. In terms of like when you're comparing this offensive team as it's presently constructed compared to theirs, well, in particular, Super Bowl run, there was a lot to be desired at the skill position in terms of wide receiver, in my opinion. They didn't have the personnel that we have on the boundaries with Waddle, with Cedric Wilson, with obviously Tyreek Hill, et cetera, et cetera. So they had to lean more on the run game.
But you don't understand
the
element of they didn't need as well the element outside. Well, and here's what takes it.
They needed it. They needed it because
here's what takes it. Why would they? Hold on.
The inconsistencies cost them a Super Bowl. Inconsistencies on the boundary cost them a Super Bowl.
What cost them a Super Bowl is Jimmy G's overthrow with a wide open receiver going across the middle.
Well, that's one play, but that is one play. But
that's the Super Bowl.
But
you win a Super Bowl, you complete that.
Think about over a 60-minute ball game. Don't just cherry pick one play. Sure, everybody looks at that play. Yeah, we can say that if Jimmy G makes that ball, completes that football, more than likely they win. But listen, over the course of a 60-minute ball game, bro, what if they had more stability on the boundaries to where they could consistently make more plays, put more points on the board, lean on the skill position players? Like, what if they had our personnel on the outside?
Here's the thing. We'll find out this year because we won't know, EM. It actually could have been worse for them. Why? Because another thing that they also had that historic run game allowed them to do is control the game clock with a great defense. But if you got a high-powered offense and you throwing the ball more, you ain't controlling it as much.
Well, that's where situational play calling comes into play. That's where the experience of your play caller comes into play. So again, you throw to put points on the board, you run the ball to win the game. That's why I hope this year, okay, I'm hoping and I'm praying. I want to see balance. I want to see complementary football with this offense because that's the only way I see. Well, not the only way, but I think that'll give us the best chance to really be successful this year on Sundays.
But let me say this, EM. I feel like that historic run game with San Francisco, the Super Bowl run year, they had a better chance of being successful than us having our boundary guys that's legit. Let me tell you why I feel that way. Because when you run the ball, you're dealing with a 3rd and short.
Right.
If we're not as historic as they are running the ball, Tua may still have to deal with some 3rd and 8s and 3rd and longs. And even with those weapons out there, what do you give the probability? That's part of the problem. You limit it to one play that needs to be converted versus a historic run game that's getting the first down within 2 plays. And that's where they were. That's why they were so good. They probably and I'll go look this up, but I could probably almost guarantee that they didn't make it to third down as much as other teams. They probably had less third down attempts than most teams. And the more third down attempts you have, the harder it is. And if our run game ain't historic and we got to deal with 3rd and 5 or more, it could be a whole lot tougher.
Oh yeah,
but I want to say this. Y'all said Joe Burrow wasn't good in the playoffs.
I didn't say that. I was
no.
I was
No, that's me.
No, we said he wasn't as good in the regular season.
But is this still not good from a quarterback in the playoffs? The first round, you throw for 71% completion, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions with a 110 rating. And week 2,
was that the Titans game?
Yeah, no, Las Vegas Raiders.
Was that the Raiders?
That's the Raiders game.
In the first round, he did play well.
In the second round versus Tennessee, the man has 76%.
No, look at the game. Look at the game. You got to watch the game.
I watched the game. I remember the 9 sacks. He played phenomenal to have 9 sacks. It ain't like there were sacks where it was his fault or what he was doing.
No, TD, he was holding on to the ball. He listen. I'm not assigning 100% of the blame on Joe Burrow, but a lot of those sacks that that he gave up, it was due to him not identifying his hot reads, holding on to the ball too long.
In the first half, in the second half, it was non-existent. It didn't even exist in the second half.
I'm not saying Joe Burrow's bad. I'm just saying he didn't. It didn't work because he was the only thing there. I mean, the offensive line was terrible.
Okay, yeah. So
I'm not saying Joe Burrow's bad. I'm saying he just didn't. He didn't perform as well in the playoffs like he did in the. I expected them.
I'm sorry, the man still put it all up. The man 76% completion percentage even in the Tennessee game, 348 yards passing in the Tennessee game. And it was a hard-fought defensive battle, and that's with 9 sacks. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's still. See, let me tell you the difference here. His 76 completion percentage and 348 yards and no touchdowns still was very impactful in that game. All it took for him was a 10% decrease in productivity, and he loses. And we know it was led by the defense, but still. There was no difference on the other side of the ball. And then Kansas City was actually his worst game, 60% completion, 250 yards. And we talk about worst games in the playoffs of 250 yards. And our guy can't even average that in the regular season. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'm just saying.
Damn, man. Here we go.
And then let's be honest. He was 1 sack away from winning the Super Bowl. 1 Aaron Darnold play away from winning the Super Bowl.
That is funny.
It ain't gonna show up pretty in the playoffs. My ceiling for quarterbacks in the playoffs aren't that high, but this is why I always tell y'all, you gotta be a certain level. Because typically, if you're an average quarterback, when you get in the playoffs, it's a disaster. Typically, not always, but if you're gonna make a long run, which you tend not to, because if you're an average or above average quarterback, everybody's play comes down a little in the playoffs. Yeah, you might have a game where you go off, but the whole group of 3 to 4 games, your productivity usually goes down versus the regular season. So I'm sorry. I thought he played well to be sacked 9 times and keep his poise. Because think about it in that game as well, throwing 350 yards and 76% completion, all them hits. I know a guy who would have been rattled.
Oh.
I know a guy who would have been missing people in the flat and would have been like, is this your man?
Oh.
I'm sticking with him.
Stop.
Oh.
Stop.
You can't talk to people like that, Ian.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You can't talk to people like that, Ian.
I don't know what you're talking about. Who? Please put a name. Drop a name on it.
You
put a
can't
name on
it.
Put a name on it.
Josh
Put
Allen.
a name on it.
Josh Allen.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I know.
Leave him alone.
You know how I feel about that indirect
No, well,
shots,
but
y'all.
hold on. Who
Hey,
you think I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Who you think I'm talking about?
I'm not a mind reader, my
You
friend.
know good and well I'm talking about Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay, well, put a name on it.
You
then.
already knew that.
In the
already
suspense,
knew that.
I'm not a mind reader. In the suspense, and put a name on it. That's all
You
I ask.
already knew that. You put it
I
like
don't know.
this. Put it like this. You know what's funny about that Tennessee? You know what's funny about that Tennessee game, Drubbatron? Tennessee did just as much damage to Burrow that they did to Tua. Did they not? Matter of fact, they did more damage to Burrow than they did to Tua.
Yep.
What, as far as hitting him?
Everything they did.
There
But what was the difference?
What
was the difference? The Tennessee Titans
Oh.
did more to Joe Burrow. They put him through more stress than they put through Tua. But look at the end result. Burrow still walks out of the game with 76% completion and 348 yards.
Oh, man.
It wasn't raining.
Oh my
Who's on the screen? Who's this on the screen?
Hey, Saturday.
that?
You see how animated TD gets when he gets to evaluating Tua, especially in a negative way. Ooh, it comes
It's
out.
gonna be animated when people try to ignore the facts. And how about this, EM? Is what I'm saying false?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you will have these people that try to make it seem like I'm just hating. That's why I get animated.
I'm trolling, TD.
That's why.
Yeah.
No,
Don't turn up on me, bro.
Some people that don't know that.
Don't turn up on me, bro. I'm not out
some people that don't know that you trolling.
Mm.
But it's all good, man. It is what it is.
I want to say real quick. I want to say clear. I want to be clear. And before people, that are in the chat that like to run to Twitter and put out false information. This person is talking about Tua in a negative way. It was nothing but haters was on TD's show today, and of course they're gonna label me. They label me as public enemy number 2. TD is number 1. I'm number 2. But I want to be clear. This conversation today about what we're hearing about how the team has looked up until this point. This is just I think we can all agree it's not time to hit the panic button just yet. Nobody is saying Mike McDaniel won't be, an effective play caller. He will not get this offense up to speed. No one said that up here. We are just publicly documenting what we're hearing, and what the beat writers are reporting. Some beat writers are reporting, and it's just concerning to us all because TD, we've talked about this several times. I've had this conversation with Reason as well as others privately since OTAs. The reports of the inconsistencies have been coming out. They just haven't been public as they are now. So now, as we get closer to training camp, it's only so much you can hide. So now, what we look like as a team, what we look like as an offense, it's going to be on Front Street. It's going to be on public display. So where we are now, this conversation today is we're just publicly documenting what we're hearing. So before they get to running to Twitter and start, putting out false information, that is the point of this conversation.
They're going to run to Twitter anyway. It's all right.
Hey. That helps me. I'm almost at 3,000 followers on Twitter. I'm like shocked. I've never advertised my Twitter. And at the end of last season, I had 1,000. I'm almost 2,000 up. And it always comes from stuff like this when they clip stuff and make me out the enemy. So many people follow me. So go clip me. Forget what EM talking about. You can portray me however you want on Twitter. I'm here for it. I respond and all. I have the fun that's necessary to get right back at you. But most of y'all done blocked me by now because you realize you can't bother me. I'm happy. Leave me alone.
Let him eat the cake.
All right, I'm out. I got to get back to work, y'all.
All right, man.
It's always a pleasure, man. It's Finsanity. Be good now.
All right, I got to tell y'all about a dream I had last night.
Yeah. All right, y'all be good.
No, seriously. I had a dream last night. Actually, it wasn't last night. It was the night before. I got to tell y'all about this because I'm truly concerned.
I need to listen to this.
No, I'm serious. So I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'm going to do it anyway, and they're going to really call me a hater for this. I had a dream that the Miami Dolphins brought in Baker Mayfield this year.
Oh, my.
Oh, Lord.
But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. This is what I'm scared of. There's only one reason they would even consider that, and they did it in the offseason. And all I'm going to say is it reminded me of Tannehill in practice when he heard it for the second time, and we had to go get Jay Cutler. I literally had a dream that something happened this offseason, and we needed to go get a guy, and they brought in
He
Baker Mayfield.
He trolling.
No, I promise you, EM, I had the dream.
Hold
and I
your
was
right
like,
hand to God
this
right
man-
now. Your
I
right
swear
hand to
to-
God.
Bro, I swear to you, I said, I hope this man don't get hurt. I don't know why I had that dream. And then it started making me think nobody's talking about that either. Nobody's talking about through all of this play what has been prevalent every single freaking year for the last 4 years of this kid's career.
Before that, longer than that.
Well, you're right. And I was like, please don't let that happen. Because let me tell you, at the back end of my dream, while I was mad, I was yelling because it bought him another year. Like literally, like, well, we don't know. He gets to have year 4. You can, guess it. Bro, I was like, anyway,
No, you
man,
can't be hurt like that. You can't be hurt like that.
I'm just saying.
Mm.
And he
No, I'll
actually
be there.
got a 4th year after that.
I've been pretty even keeled about
Knocking on wood.
my Tua takes, but if there's any kind of prolonged absence because of injury, I mean, you got to move on. It's 3 years in a row. It's no longer just a happenstance. It's a pattern. It's just not good. It's never going to happen if that happens.
That's the last thing that needs to happen to us because I don't know how they'll feel going forward.
I guess real quick, TD, I'm going over the chat right now, and I guess you had I guess you got a lot of people running to Twitter. I guess they beat me to it. They TD and EM are talking negative about Tua, and Finsani and Drobitron are being looped in as bystanders. That's what
Good. Hopefully my Twitter blow up. I appreciate it.
I could use some new followers.
Exactly. Thank you to the
I don't
haters.
give a damn about no followers. Listen here.
I got to catch up to TD. I'm only at 2,600.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Monetize these things.
Bro,
sorry.
I haven't even been trying.
You know what?
To
I'm
build
gonna
my
stop
Twitter.
looking at these comments because I'm about to get real. I'm about to turn up real quick, and I don't want to do that to you, TD.
Right.
It's always a time and a place for that. But Ian don't want no
tailgate
smoke.
was where it was last night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
Oh
you
my
got
God.
people
There's a
thinking,
time and a place for that type of activity. So
TD, you got to go watch the replay of that show last night.
You
Go
gotta
I'll
watch it.
check it out. I just don't understand the people that are so illiterate to where they disdain a channel, but they're here every time. Like anybody who has the gall to write in the comment section something negative about the channel, but them being here says it all. Why would you be here?
Just hit the like button while you're here, you know?
It makes no sense. No, they're subscribed. They're subscribed too. Because I have the subscriber only mode on. It for the life of me, I don't understand it. I keep trying to just wean these people out. I don't want them to ever listen. But let me tell you something. I told y'all this before. Some of my haters, they look to me for validation. And I'm gonna say that cocky to their face right now. They look for me to validation. When I said something good about Tua's throw on Twitter the other day, they were like, man, this means a lot coming for you. That's why they know I keep it 100. It ain't what they want to hear, but they know they're going to get the truth. So every time something good happens with their kid, they want to know what my take is. Because if I say it to be so, then it must be so.
I still think it's got something to do with Josh Rosen, but that's just me though.
All right, since we were talking about dreams, don't let us go there. All right.
Oh,
your dream was a whole lot different than mine.
I still think it's got something to do with the old boy Rosen, but that's just me. So
Don't talk about Josh Rosen.
Listen, man, I got to get back to work, y'all. Y'all be good, man. It's always a pleasure.
Right, yeah.
Insanity, be good, darling. It's always a pleasure. All right, y'all be good.
Have a good one.
Listen, man, at the end of the day, man, we welcome all the haters. We welcome all the people who don't like me or anybody else who shares the takes. I just keep it 100. I keep it honest. At the end of the day, I keep telling y'all nothing will change with Tua unless he changes it. It's that simple. He has to be the one going to change it. You can't defend him. You can't stop me from talking about anything that happens bad with him, and you can't stop me from talking about the good things with him, because every time he do something good and I report it, no, we don't want to hear from you. Keep the same energy. You don't even want to hear me say nothing positive most of the time. So you can't stop it. At the end of the day, the only person that can stop it is himself. It's that simple. Only he can stop it. And we got to wait on him to do that. Hopefully we get some good reports from today's practice. If the media is present, if they are present, this will be interesting. I want to see how they did today, and I'll report that as well. But we're not going to keep y'all too much longer. Any last thoughts, Finsanity?
Fins up. Shout out to Tua. Don't laugh, dude. Y'all try to be serious, because I mean, I feel like everybody wanna, it's more entertaining, to troll and to beat up and all that. But like, I'm trying to like find solutions so that my team is good. Like at the end of the day, not having a good QB ain't good for nobody in the fan base. Like whether you a two-in-the-air or not, like you got to support the team. And if you're going to support the team, that means you got to support everybody on here. And if what they're doing now isn't what's in them working, then we got to go back to the drawing board and we got to find a way to make this team effective so that they can win. And if it comes down to, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to say it, but like at the end of the day, I want the Dolphins to win. I want to be, happy and content with our success and, beating up one of our players because they're not doing, like, that's not good for us, especially when it's at the QB position. Like, y'all can do it for the likes and for the laughs and all that and for the content, but at the end of the day, we're going to be disappointed as fans. So it's fun now while it's in the offseason, but when it get real and those games start counting and y'all like upset about it, you're going to be like, well, dang, what could we have done in the offseason so we wasn't here? And to me, it's always throwing rocks and stones first instead of saying, okay, like I tried to say, like, hey, be effective with what you can do. When it comes time for you to deliver that 15-yard pass, deliver it with conviction. Like, do that. It don't got to be 40. Do what you can do and be good at what you can do. Whatever you can do, excel in it to it. Like, stop, leave out all the noise and just go out there, work on your craft, grind so that you can be good for this team. Because as fans, that's what we need. We need a QB that can get the job done. And that's it. So y'all have fun. I try not to do the PR stint too much. Shout out to 2 and 9. You feel me? Thanks for lifting my band. I'm back. So
yeah, Insanity. We need a facilitator like Stephen Curry, the greatest of this era, bro. Brown. Just pay attention. He's gonna show you how to do it with one team. Oh, Brown.
Talking about the Fins, and here you come. There's TD Sports Talk.
Hey! You can't win a championship in the preseason, Insanity. So you know what I mean. It ain't like the Heat. When you throwing confetti in the regular season.
That's the boy.
I'm trying to talk about my listen. I'm focused on my Fins and how we can be better, how we can be competitive, because I don't want to lose. Like, I don't care about all the hoopla and all that. Tell me a way. Like, there's so many good football minds in here, and people, instead of just laughing and joking, some of y'all could probably come up with some realistic concepts and offensive concepts that this guy could be effective in. And I can but what? I ain't gonna tell nobody how to do their channel or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's about winning.
They're doing it though, Insanity. They're doing a scheme that translated from college. Mike McDaniel's scheme is not too far off from what he can install for Tua. I mean, you can sprinkle in some of yours.
Esther, I think what Finsanity's trying to say is that as lifelong Dolphin fans, we have been sold and have bought 1 billion times the nonsense. First-time head coaches, that this guy's a guru, and more often than not, we're so low when we're sold this, that we're willing to buy it hook, line, and sinker. It's a little different this time. We had a winning coach the last 2 years that a lot of people, whether you agree or disagree with his tactics of coaching, it was effective enough to win games in the end. To move off that, yes, look, the offense was abysmal, needing all this other stuff and doing it. I agree with it in hindsight. Problem is what us as longer term fans, lifelong fans, I'll even say, I'm not gonna. You can't sell me, the nonsense again. We're not gonna just allow ourselves to again and again and again just be used as suckers, man. It hurts. We love this team. Look, I don't want people to take it too seriously, obviously. Have some fun, but we got to be able to call the nonsense out when we see it from the organization. Maybe not, look, there's not much we can do as fans, but what we can do is not be against each other when it comes to holding the team responsible for this abusive relationship we're going to stay in, because that it is what it is. Right? Am I right, Vincent? Is that kind of what you're saying? Something to that effect?
No.
I thought you were basically saying, look, we can't allow this team to continue to do this again and again. Not that what are we gonna do about it?
I was basically saying what I was saying, black and white. I'm like, honestly, what I'm just saying is that, like, how can
we're in too deep insanity. There's no turning back. There's nothing we can do. We're gonna get it done, or like TD was saying earlier, you're so in deep with this guy, you're just gonna sell him, and he's not the guy. You're not a Super Bowl contender, and you're just gonna move on. That's all there is to it. You just gotta accept it.
All I'm saying is, how about this? Instead of us worrying about how deep these passes are or stuff like that, like, wait till we see something. Like, they only gonna show us what they want to see. And that's why I told everybody, I've been on record, I don't want to do this PR stint of the offseason because it's going to look like fields of sunflowers. And then when somebody says something else, we're going to be looking like, what the heck is going on? What I'm saying is, it's like, don't get caught up in what you want him to do or what you want to see, because we have, what's the name? Think about, like, garner your expectations to what he actually can do and where he really is, because, like, most players who go through an injury, like a very altering injury, especially at his position, don't come back the same. There's a reason why they didn't want to go get Drew Brees, because they didn't think he was going to come back the same. Like, a lot of players who are injury prone, they don't want to touch him because they don't expect him to come back the same. But here we are expecting this dude to come back like someone he can't come back and be. So instead of us, always criticizing this and criticizing that, like, wait till we can actually see something and then, like, garner our expectations and see what our offensive coordinator and what our head coach is going to do to actually help him to be successful. But if y'all going in saying, oh, we want like 6 50-yard passes a game, like, that don't seem realistic to me in my mind. I'm just saying, like, have realistic expectations for what you want from this offense. So then when you want to go out and criticize what he is and what he isn't doing, bring that back in and say, well, can he do this effectively? Can he excel in this? And is that a way that our team can be successful? I'm just saying it's about the team success overall and what he can do. Don't be out here trying to sell that he needs to do this and needs to do that because of Tyreek Hill is on the team now.
I hear you, Finsanity. I hear you loud and clear. Man. Well, we talking about practice. We talking about practice.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's really think about this thing, man. Hey, you talking about a lifelong Dolphin fan? Been here since that number 13. First jersey that I ever bought. The only other jersey I ever bought was Tua's. But with that being said, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. I'm gonna take a line from TD. Time will tell. Time will tell. We got to be patient, man. We can't get too high on anything that come out of training camp right now, good or bad. You can't, because the pads ain't on. These guys ain't lining up against other teams. None of that. You getting a whole new a whole new system that this team haven't been running. But I know the bright spot when it comes to what Tua can do, and I'm skeptical about him too. Injuries is something. Hey, Schlereth said it best. Your best ability in sports is your availability. If you're not available, you have no ability. And that's the biggest knock on this kid. The fact that he's very accurate with the football, and in this kind of offense, that bodes very well. And if Jimmy Garoppolo can go to a Super Bowl in this offense, I know Tua is better than Jimmy Garoppolo, period, hands down. But that being said, guess what? If he ain't the guy at the end of the season, I'm gonna tell y'all like this: since Marino's been gone, this is the best Dolphins team that I've seen top to bottom. Complimentary football on both sides.
No argument
the
here.
only other situation that you got to look at if there's a problem will be the quarterback. And guess what? Next season we got 2 first-round picks.
This is the best Dolphins team you've seen, even though you ain't seen them?
I'm gonna tell you this on paper.
Okay.
On paper. You know, they ain't, of course, because that would just negate everything that I just said about waiting and being patient. But on paper, compared to all these Dolphins teams I've seen, and this is the best one, man. But like I said, man, we just got to be patient, man. Don't get too high about some of this stuff coming out, because I know one thing: defense gonna have great days, offense gonna have great days. Now the problem's gonna come in if you hearing this on a repeated basis, practice after practice after practice after practice. Then now it's becoming a trend, and now you got a problem. But hey, man, y'all stay up, man. TD, keep doing your thing, man. Don't worry about no haters. One thing I always learned when it comes to this game, man, you know what I mean? You can't win with social media. Everybody ain't going to like what you say. Some people going to love what you say. The vast majority ain't going to love it. And another thing, and this is my last thing that I'm going to say, and I'm out. I got a phrase, man. When it comes to players, you cannot get attached to players. You have to be attached to progress. And if the player that you attach to is in the way of progress, they're up out of here on the first thing. Flying. So, hey, that's what we got to do, man. Keep y'all head up. Hey, everybody's 0-0 right now in the league, man. Dolphins fans, man, let's get it.
Later, Ron.
Appreciate you, bro. Oh, he dipped out. What's up, El Capitan?
Oh, you know it, man. Just got home from work, had a meeting a little bit. I seen you earlier. I tried to get in earlier, but I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I had a meeting and stuff. Just coming in. I listened to a little bit. I couldn't catch all of it, what you were saying, but I know what you mean on your perspective. And I know people give you some gruff about it. And Color kind of says this on the network, when you and Color are hook, line, and sinker going to bat for Tua full in on everything, you'll know that Tua is the real deal amongst the fans. It's a full tilt change. Like, hey, listen, now I already know Tua. You know what I'm worried about, though, and I think most of us Dolphin fans are worried. Like, I'm worried about what excuses will they make for people next. If I'm this time next year and we miss the playoffs and only got 9 wins and things don't change, or things do change, but say the quarterback's the same and he came underwhelming, I just don't want to be in that cycle anymore, man. It's just mediocrity. We said, okay, we're stuck in mediocrity. Let's tank this thing, and then we're going to switch it around. It's a lot to ask your fan base to destroy your team like that. Say goodbye to everybody. We've been reeling coming back since then. There's no excuses now. And so when you were talking about earlier that Mike McDaniel could be gone, I agree. I even said that there's a world where Mike McDaniel may be here, maybe Tua's gone, and we did go to the playoffs. Look at San Francisco. San Francisco right now, they've made a massive trade to move off of Jimmy G. Rams look no further. There's a world in which we do make it to the playoffs, but they still may move off of Tua because they don't believe in him in being a high caliber quarterback. Now, is that what I want? No, I'd much rather keep those first round picks and retool this team. But we got to be honest with ourselves. What we can't have is more excuses. There's no more excuses. They already told us this is going to end the excuses. We're blowing up this team. We have a real plan. They can't keep pivoting and selling me the same narrative again and again and again and expect us to just be like, well, you know, this or that. And I like Chris Greer. I'm a big champion of Chris Greer. I like his vision, his idea, you know, everything he's done. I don't want to see him lose his job, but it's going to cost him his job if we're pivoting all over again and it doesn't work out. It's a terrible situation. I know other fan bases have to deal with it, but bro, we ain't won a playoff game since I was in high school. You know, I got kids and a business now. I'm a grown ass man.
When is it all gonna change, man?
It's got to change, though.
22
TD.
years.
It's got to change. It's got to change. We have to change as a fan base. We have to have higher expectations. We got to say, look, this is no longer okay. And they can sell us, you know, a bag of beans and a false narrative if a large swath of the fan base just hook, line, and sinkers any of the propaganda that comes out from the Dolphins. Now, look, I like it too. Hope is fun. And you said it earlier on the show. Hope is way easier to sell. Way easier to sell to the fans, everything, YouTube, all that stuff. Taking the convicted part of holding people accountable, it's the harder thing, but it's the right thing to do. So
I'll tell you the thing that TD keeps preaching on his show, and it's killing me to see these red flags come up that Westoff talked about in practice, and that is players not lining up correctly, players not getting in and out of the huddle correctly. That all goes right back to TD saying Tua has a problem learning the playbook, and it looks like it's starting to happen all over again. We saw it in games last year happen, and I don't know if they're just going to have to keep them on the field there to learn these plays and learn, you know, the protections or whatever the problem is with Tua. But it seems like from the way Westoff talked in that practice that the same things are still happening and they're not getting corrected. And I know it's a new offense and everything, but this is just basic plays, lining your guys up properly, knowing the protections, knowing where you're going to go with the ball, and it seems like it's not working. It's not happening.
But Thomas, you know, to your point, and they've already started this, you know, recently. Tua's had this many different offensive coordinators, this many different offenses. I mean, look, we can do that for everyone all the time, all these excuses. You know, I don't want to see if things don't work on the offense because Tua didn't learn the offensive, you know, playbook, whatever, that, well, you know, it's his new offense and this, that, like, when is enough enough? When's enough where we go, well, I can't say, sorry, you couldn't do your job. That's all. Do better. You know, I mean, I don't know what to say. And I don't want to be insensitive to people, especially on a football team, you know, where you depend on a lot of guys to do things right. But somebody's got to lead. Somebody's got to take initiative. Someone's got to be held accountable. Yes, ma'am.
Capitan. First and foremost, shout out to my dad, Sister 07, who just came into the chat. Love you, Dad.
Aw.
I'm a little confused. So I'm trying, like, because I mean, I haven't watched much football in my life, believe it or not. I barely watch it. So when you're in a huddle, QB gives out the play, right? That's to, you know, tell the players out there like where you should be, what line, what formation we're in, what play we're running, stuff like that, right? So when you do that, normally in a real game situation, right, and you break the huddle, and guys, you know, the linemen turn around and the wide receivers go out to where they're supposed to go, right?
Yep.
Is that the QB pointing them to which way they're going initially, or should they know where to line up?
So, I mean, listen.
Because when he says it's on Tua just needs to know if he's in shotgun, under center, or whatever. If he's running a motion, and then he starts reading the defense. That if the linemen or the wide receivers or the running back don't know where they're supposed to line up, that's on them. If Tua calls them the play right, then you should know where you should be at on that field, unless he motions you or moves you or like tells you to line up somewhere else. But like from the initial point, this is the play, get information. That's not on Tua. And like, I'm sorry, like I gotta push back on that one. If you're saying Tua doesn't know where to line up, whether he's in a shotgun situation, pistol, or under center, then sure. But to say like everybody else, like, nah, come on.
In a perfect world, the quarterback, and I mean to operate the offense the best way you can, you should know everybody's job, especially the route combination that they're on in that play, and know how to get on the lineup.
But you're not answering my question. Initially, they're talking about where guys are supposed to like line up. Is that on Tua for them to know where they're supposed to be at?
Well, it's a go ahead, TD.
It's a 80-20 responsibility. 80% on the player. You got to know where to line up. But the problem is the quarterback does have a little bit of ownership, and the only reason why, he has to know if they're in the right formation or not.
Right, but he only knows that until you're going to your spot. He won't know that until like say the X is not where he's supposed to be. He won't know that until he gets into place or he starts.
But that's the whole point.
So once I'm saying putting that all on Tua is where I have to push back on.
No, once you know the place, you have to correct it there, or you got to be the one calling that timeout,
right? But they're
not making that audible,
right? But to put the narrative that it's on Tua or like Tua's no,
that's a mistake on the actual player.
That's what I'm pushing back on because I think it was Thomas said that's on Tua like solely. No. As a professional, know your playbook. Know where we're supposed to be at. Granted, we're getting through the kinks and all that right now, and it's a new playbook and all that. But to automatically say, "Oh, that is solely on Tua right now," no, absolutely not. I have to push back on that narrative. I'm here for like any Tua slander that wants to go out, but to say 100% because you don't know where you're supposed to be at, yeah, Tua should be able to make the correction, but you should also know where you should be at.
What I'm trying to say is, getting in and out.
That's why that's a very important position, though.
But where did they say it was on Tua? Where did this y'all? He said that Tua didn't know.
No, the point I'm making is that
I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, but Tom Brady will line you up. A lot of these seasoned quarterbacks.
Not only that, what if one or two wide receivers go down and
their responsibility? They know other players' responsibilities. It's a very important position to play. You know.
The question is it solely his fault? No, and actually, the actual position player has to take more accountability. Thank you. But you do say, hey, this is where your leader needs to be able to correct it, but it's not his fault per se. Now, if it and again, I don't see. I'm way under that. I give Tua zero responsibility because he barely know his own playbook. He barely know where he need to be lined up. No, I'm just playing. That was a joke. I'm trolling. But I don't. People need to understand we cannot expect a lot on him like a Brady and the rest of these guys. We just want
I get it, but
put him in a situation to play solid football to help us win games. We just ain't got one of those guys.
You know what I want, y'all, honestly, and I'm not trying to interrupt you, but honestly, I was thinking about this today. You know, I think a lot of Dolphin fans vote, and you know, I can't include Tua fans because, and I'm just going to group them as Tua fans. Yeah, we already know all the names because they'll never be realistic about, a take on Tua, but I just think that the strong mental fortitude that a player has to have, you need to see it in practice. Like this guy got it. You know what I mean? And I feel what I would like is for Tua to close that gap with them young guys that came in his class that have shown it. Because we sit here and complain about offensive line play, and Burrow and Herbert had to at least deal with it through their rookie and sophomore seasons and overcome it and still play well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the year where they actually gave you a decent offensive line. Like, regardless if they, I know I was saying I would like them to come together and play well because it will make it easier on him, but it's still not going to be an excuse this year. for him not playing well. He's still gonna have to overcome. He has to. He has, and this is regardless, of what happened his first year. Fitz, in my opinion, was the better quarterback. He was a more prepared quarterback, and that's factual because Tua said out of himself he didn't know the playbook, and Chan Gailey said they gave him what he could handle. So his first year for me is a wash. I really don't have a whole lot of criticism, but last year, that's where you at some point got to be somewhat critical. Like you can't just be a homer and not say you're a fan of this team. You know what I mean? Like you got to say something. If what you're seeing is not what you are expecting, we all have expectations. So my expectations and my hope is that mentally he gets tougher because I don't see that. I don't see it in the games, like in interviews. There's something missing there, So, I think McDaniel's on the right track by trying to get him to gain confidence. I believe that's what they're working on. Whatever you got to do, I don't know. I don't know how you fix this, to be honest. I think McDaniel has a lot on his plate. But the one thing I'll say is a lot of our fan base is ready to say that, well, if this guy don't get us to the playoffs, he needs to lose his job or we need to fire him. That, to me, is not, well, for one, it's not fair. And you're always going to be a mediocre franchise if that's your go-to. Oh, get rid of the coach. You know what I mean? Like, you got to see if one of these guys can pan out for you as a coach, too. You can't just, go from one coach to the next. I'm actually sick of that as well. And I don't think, a lot of our fans really don't talk about that enough, but you do hear a lot of fans already saying that if McDaniel doesn't do this or do that, that's it. In 1 year, I'm just like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess if you want to be in the same boat as the Houston Texans,
I don't want to say that. Yeah, if he doesn't do it, he's gonna lose his job. I think the team might feel that way though, and I think that might be the whole pivot. Like the name that comes to mind is Sean Payton, and if they bring in a seasoned veteran coach with an already made team on both sides of the ball, and whatever veteran quarterback or rookie quarterback of his choosing, that's the world in which both of them get let go. To me, you know what I'm saying? If that happens, if that's where we're at.
What if he took a demotion to OC for a year under Payton? Bring Payton in for a year.
He's still losing his job as head coach. I mean, not losing a job with the organization, but he's still not head coach. And
he needs to be a great.
But the point is, like, bro, we don't keep it in house. Like, we're always trying to outsource coaches and everything else, man. Like, you know what I mean? We don't even have a coaching tree.
This is kind of the plight of having a young owner, which I know our owner isn't young. What I mean by that is he's only owned this for a lot of these, owners have been in the family, and it's all about business. It's not what you know and who you know. You know what I'm saying? And that has something to do with it as well.
When you were talking earlier about like the fans, I don't know, I to an extent, like the way I received that is like quit accepting the BS that they're feeding you, and have higher expectations, because that's the way that I see it. And I think a lot of our fans settle on what we're doing as a franchise. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at times they can go for better coaching. They can go for better players. For whatever reason, they hold back. I know TD went in depth on that earlier, which I agree. You know what I mean? If you don't feel like if your team is ready for a championship, then why invest in all these players and be handicapped with your pocketbooks for the next season? I get all that. But like when I was talking about like coaching trees, like we don't have a coach that's ever, besides Shula, put out a coaching tree. That's it. Like Belichick's got guys that, even though, a lot of people say they're not successful, but look at the Shanahan coaching tree. Like I guess what I'm saying is our franchise, the outlook is just mediocre. Like it's just trying to for me, it's just about what you're going to wear to the game. And don't get me wrong, man, a lot of people are going to take this wrong, but like, I'm just kind of past like putting on a jersey and, hey, look at me, I'm a Dolphins fan. Like, no, bro, like, I don't care if I got I remember Larry saying this. that he was a Dolphin fan. He didn't even have a damn Dolphin shirt in his closet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just beyond, like, just putting on the jersey, bro. Like, I really want them to do something already, man.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, it's
if
ridiculous.
we're real with ourselves, we wanna puff our chest out and talk trash to other franchises and know that the Dolphins, if they went one-on-one with whatever team we were talking trash with, they know and we know that our team could beat them. We want a
real
little
relevance.
That's right, bro. We want a little bit of that.
It doesn't exist for us. But
I
you know what?
I don't
I'm
see
at a
with the
point
overturn
where
that they have consistently. That's what they've done consistently, is have continual overturn year in and year out. We're a joke. We're a laughing stock. You should be able to be critical of your team and say these things, bro. But when you say stuff like that, people throw you under the bus.
That's right.
They unsubscribe from you. They unfollow you, dude. I don't care, bro. I'm not. I don't care if you don't like me, bro. Like, I'm just like, I'm a fan. But damn, dude, like, enough's enough, bro. Like, every time that I hear a report on my team, it's always negative, bro. They're not doing this good enough. They're not doing that good enough. And, some of these beat writers get criticized, like Omar Kelly, for coming out and saying stuff, and they're telling you things ahead of time. And when it blows up in your perspective face, because you won't listen to these people, you're left wondering why, bro, when the writing was on the wall the whole time. They were telling you, man, they look like crap, bro.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to,
Anyways.
again, it's about accountability and what you said, TD. We need relevance. You know what I'm saying? We want to have it.
And that's what's funny to me too, guys. It's like, for 3 years now, everybody that told the truth, and the truth was not favorable, is what they call negative now. It wasn't favorable. They ended up being right, and people got mad at them. But everybody who lies to you and tell you that it's all the good stuff, and it don't turn out to be the case, that's okay. That's acceptable.
Well,
for the
on
life
that,
of me, I don't understand that.
Well, they pivot. So I'm selling you nothing but good stuff. Then it doesn't work out. Well, then I'm going to tell, they come back with all the stuff I sold them, go, look, you told me this was all good. There's the problem. And
they
right
support
now,
everybody's excuses.
That's right. They support the excuses when we shouldn't be. We should be holding, I don't want to say holding people accountable, because then that can get kind of, dicey. What I mean is, let's have a little bit more expectation. Let's have a little bit more. I don't know.
But that's why it's okay. That's why it's okay to have an organization that struggles. And listen, I'm tired of blaming Ross. I'm tired of blaming Greer. It's us. It starts and ends with the fan base. Your expectation of the team is all that matters. So if you all expect greatness and you're getting reports that it's not, we won't stop buying the merch and the tickets. We won't do any of that to make them feel it. So as long as we're supporting with our monetary dollars, as long as we're supporting, it doesn't matter if they give you a bad product. If you're buying it, who cares? It doesn't matter.
I don't want people to think I'm a hater, because everybody thinks I'm a hater. Look, bro, I bought a Tua jersey, but unfortunately, it was on sale. So I was like, I got to pull the trigger, bro. It's on sale. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I support them, bro. But I got to wait for stuff to go on sale. You know what I mean? I ain't buying it full price no more, bro. It's got to be. I got to get a deal, bro. You know what I mean? But I ain't buying nothing full price no more. That's how I'm going to protest. But I'm joking. No, I love the team, man.
You're joking? You don't have a Tua jersey at all?
No. I do have a jersey, and I did get it on sale, bro. You know how long I was eyeing that? Them jerseys were on that rack forever, bro. Nobody was buying them. And then they went on sale, so I just went ahead and pulled the trigger. But what I was going to say was, even though we're talking about practice, it's got to be bad, bro, for EM to have been up all night, bro, and hopped on with y'all earlier. Bro, he's got to be having nightmares about this team right now, man. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? But we all kind of feel that way, man.
It don't look good, and that's the fact of it. Like, it don't look good. Like, I'm not out here saying I'm just saying, like, there has to be an answer to make it better. There has to be.
Every time we sign somebody, we think we fixed the issue. Listen,
No, they just distract us. That's all that is.
I stopped spending money on this team 2 years ago. I mean, as y'all already know how much money I've been spending with the setup and everything. After that,
look at the wall.
Yeah,
Look at TV.
But after that, this is all 3 years ago. Y'all know that. You can go look at the film 3 years ago.
4 laptops.
I ain't spent a penny as far as memory. The only thing I've gotten in over a year is probably the luau and that hat, and that was from my sister. Not me.
I like that hat, man. I need that hat.
And I'm sorry, I can't. Listen, because guess what? I could have went and bought me a Tua jersey. Would it have been worth it at this point?
Nope. TD, you were the first to say we were on a QB jersey ban. Like, we were the first two to ever say that. People were looking at us like we was crazy.
Yeah, I went and got a Tua custom jersey. You know, one of them ones that's like 25% off where you just put the name and the number on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I went and got.
Stop. You know what?
I went and bought Tua shirts for me
listen,
and my family.
Listen, I want to say this still to this day, because I know my dad is probably still listening. My mom and dad for Christmas bought me this Tua hoodie, and it's still fresh to death, and I still wear it, and I love it, Mom and Dad. I'm still appreciative of that gift. I want you guys to know that. I really am.
It was a great college player. He just hasn't,
it has the
he hasn't
number
panned
on
out
it.
as a pro. He hasn't done anything as a pro yet.
Doesn't have the name.
It's an official Miami, it's official. Like they
doesn't have the name.
Yes.
Oh, see, that's where it hurts.
It is. It's official.
It's a hoodie. Is it jersey material hoodie?
No.
I want to get one of those. You seen those in practice? They got those hoodie jerseys. I want one of them.
Yeah.
It's like a hoodie, and my mom and dad, they bought it from NFL Shop, and it has Tagovailoa on the back of it. It has the number 1. It has like the Miami Dolphins logo on the front. It's dope.
I learned my lesson from Minka Fitzpatrick because I knew he was going to be a dog, and I bought his jersey and I bought his jersey shirt, and a few weeks later we traded him.
TD,
I learned my lesson.
Hey, TD, I bought my son the youth jersey, I think it was the XL. And bro, he wouldn't wear it. He wouldn't wear it because he said he was embarrassed to walk down the hallway with that. So it actually fit me. So I ripped the name tag off the back, bro, and I still wear it. You know what I mean? So hey, you know what I mean? It's about the logo and the colors. So, but yesterday EM sent me that link for that interview with Joe Rose, and I was like, man, I appreciate that I got something to listen to on my way to work, but man, I'm just not liking the fact that it's not what I want to hear, but I feel like I need to hear that way.
No, this is what we do. This is what we do. We'll that'll come out, right? Like Omar will tell you what's going on. They'll say Omar's a hater, always got a negative narrative. Okay. Then you get Mike that comes out on a radio show and tell you it is bad. Do you hear anybody talking about it?
No.
Well, that don't sell, TD. You know that.
Yeah, I get it, but nobody's talking about it. Nobody. I'm even saying that even in this world, in our communities, even on YouTube, nobody wants to talk about it, right?
Nah.
And then
I don't know why that is though, man. You should.
And let them release a video in an hour of a dime. One dime, and that's the talk of the day, but not the context of practice overall. Because I just found out the reporters actually aren't there today.
They're
from
not.
my understanding. So it may not be open.
Why.
But at least I got somebody there still regardless. So I'll see what they got to say, but usually it takes like 2 days before I get all the information I need from the individual. So I'll see what they got to say. The only problem is I can't really report it because the reporters aren't there. It's easy to just say that this is what I got from a reporter. So we'll see.
And it wasn't like this guy wasn't being a hateful, or he even said, I'm not trying to throw Tua, or I mean, that's what I got of it. This suggests that I got of what he was saying was that he wasn't trying to throw McDaniel or Tua under the bus. He was just calling how he saw it, and he does say that out of his mouth. And you gotta. I don't know if you listen to what he says, it resonates because this guy's he was with our team for 9 years as a special teams and tight ends coach, and he's also been an offensive line coach for I think 3 other NFL teams. Like, he's been around the league. So, I mean, and recently he said his last stint was with the Saints. So, I mean, dang, man, do you know what I mean? To say like just maybe a beat writer that's never coached or played, or like, this guy has to know somewhat what a practice is supposed to look like. You know what I mean? And for some of the stuff that he said to come out of his mouth, man, I don't think that it's nothing that you can come back from in another practice. You know, you're going to have some bad practices, especially with the offense. Yeah, I'm just kind of hoping that they don't string these practices like this together. Like, I think they might need to take the approach where they need to remove some guys from the defense and play with more players on the offense. And because we know that these guys are killers. You know what I mean? You're not going to have, if they're at full strength, you're not going to have a chance with that pass rush. So, like, I think little by little, let that pressure build up until they can handle it. I believe that would be something that they could do because, man, I mean, I haven't heard nothing good about the offensive line at all. That worries me probably even more than Tua.
Just to put this in perspective, Mike Westoff is the guy back when Jimmy Johnson took over the team and was banging the table to get Zach Thomas there because he wanted him for special teams. So this guy knows talent, okay? There's no question about it. The guy's been in the league over 30 years. He was Don Shula's special teams coordinator. This guy knows what he's not just another, Chris Sims talking here, okay? So, and for him to say it's that bad, I want to know if it's that bad for the second unit going in, that bad for the third unit going in. That's the things we need to know as Dolphin fans.
Yeah, and to the point, to round out the conversation, a guy like that is respected not just in our community but in the NFL as a whole. Him saying things from what he sees, you know that all the hate's going, this guy don't know football, he don't know what he's talking, he's washed up. Like, why can't we just take the man on his opinion from what he's seen from his eyes? And maybe not everything coming out of there is a dime on time. You know what I'm saying? I get that there's no pads. I get that it's practice. We don't want to put too much into it. But this is what a person that we respect and is highly respected says. Take him what he says. Understand it. And go, look, there's work to be done. Again, practice. But it's the truth.
Man, listen, y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through. I got some things I got to take care of today, or I would keep going. Man, I hope Thomas Jensen, I hope I can get you back sometime soon. El Capitan, as always, and we need to do something together, by the way.
Yeah.
Estefan, thank you so much. Finsanity, you already know what time it is. Thank y'all so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me on, TD.
No, absolutely. I'm appreciative of y'all coming through, man. Having a good conversation. We're gonna keep this one going at my earliest convenience. But everybody hit the like button on your way out. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Fins up no matter what. We will see y'all later. All right.
Peace out, TD.
Peace.